Hello, friends. In the high stake world of corporate leadership, volatility is the only constant. But what separates a good leader from an unshakable one? In this video, we explore the profound wisdom of Bhagavad Gita and its direct application to the modern CEOs and different, high leadership executives. We dive deep into the concept of samadhi, not as a mystical retreat, but as the ultimate state of the mental clarity and decision making. Let us proceed further on this thought.
Are you facing strategic inertia as a business leader? Today, we will discover the ultimate action blueprint for modern leaders, an insightful explainer video designed for CEOs, founders, and executives who want to break through stagnation and drive high impact execution. And as always, we will take help from Bhagavad Gita. Let's proceed further. Namaskaram, friends. You are most welcome. Now, let's picture this. You are the CEO of a multi-million-dollar enterprise. Your quarterly reviews are coming up. Your board is expecting exponential growth, and your competitors are moving quite fast. You have a brilliant strategy drafted on pristine whiteboard, sophisticated analytics dashboards, and elite talent on your payrolls. Yet, your organization feels stuck. Projects stall in endless alignment meetings. Decisions sit in a bureaucratic limbo. Everyone is planning, analyzing, and discussing, but no one is actually moving forward. Well, welcome to the modern executive greatest trap, which is the strategic inertia. Most leaders believe that the failure in business comes from making the wrong choice. But history and the timeless philosophy tells us that, it's a different story altogether. The truth is that the death kennel of an enterprise isn't a bad decision. It is actually no decision at all. Today, we are going to look at the blueprint of the modern leadership that wasn't born on a Silicon Valley incubator or a Harvard Business School case study. It was written over 5,000 years ago. We are looking at chapter 3, verse 8 of Bhagavad Gita. And the quote starts, "Choose to act, choose to do your duties over inactivity or not doing your duties. Without action, we cannot even maintain our own body." And the quote close. If you are a CEO, founder, or a senior executive watching this, the single verse holds the ultimate blueprint for breaking stagnation, driving execution, and ensuring your enterprise survives and scales. Now, let's break down what this means for our boardroom today. Let's dissect the first part of the verse, which is choose to act. Choose to do your duties over inactivity. In the modern corporate world, we have romanticized the thinker. We praise the leader who stares at the spreadsheet for hours, map out every single contingency plan, and wait for 100% certainty before making a single move. And here is a hard truth for every modern CEO. 100% certainty is an absolute myth. When you wait for all the variables to align, you aren't being strategic, you are being paralyzed. Inaction feels safe because as long as you haven't acted, you haven't technically failed. You haven't made a mistake. But in the marketplace of 21st century, inaction is the highest form of risk. Think about iconic corporate collapse like Blockbuster or even Kodak. Did they fail because they didn't have the smart people? Did they fail because they lacked their resources? No, they failed because they understood the strategy, they saw the future coming, but they choose inactivity over bold execution. They clung on to the comfort of status quo while the world shifted beneath their feet. So Bhagavad Gita calls out directly, choosing no action is, dereliction of your core executive duty. Your job description as a leader doesn't say thinker in chief. It says chief executive officer. The operative word here is the executive, the one who execute. Let's look at the second half of that ancient verse, which contains the profound biological and the corporate reality. Without the action, we cannot even maintain our own body. Now let's sink in. Think about what happens to human body when it stops moving. Muscles atrophy, blood circulation slows down, the body literally begins to break down. Movement is not an operational luxury for the body, it is the fundamental condition of its survival. Now apply that exact principle to our own enterprise. As an organization, it is a living thing, breathing ecosystem. It has a heartbeat, it has a pulse and metabolic rate. That heartbeat is execution. When your product team stops shipping features, the momentum completely dies. When your sales team stop making calls, your revenue pipeline plummets. When your leadership team stop making tough operational calls, corporate politics and bureaucracy rushes in to fill that vacuum. Many CEOs think that once a company reaches a certain scale, say 100 or 1000 employees, it can coast on its past momentum. They believe that the brand, the capital reserves, or the existing product line will maintain the body of the enterprise automatically. And that is a fatal delusion. Without continuous purposeful action, an enterprise doesn't just stand still. It decays. Stagnation is the first stage of corporate death. If your business isn't actively moving forward, the market force of the competition and the disruption will tear it apart from inside out. So, how do we translate this ancient mandate into modern corporate playbook? How do we build that, what we call the ultimate action blueprint? And here are the 4 actionable pillars you can implement in your organization starting now, starting this week probably. First is replace consensus with clarity, which is inactivity often hides behind the veil of seeking consensus. Leaders spend weeks trying to get every single stakeholder on the same table to agree on certain things, basically love a decision. The blueprint shift. Move from consensus to clarity. As a CEO, your job isn't to make everyone comfortable. It is to define the direction clearly, empower your team, and authorize them to execute. Give them authority. Disagree and commit. Commit is far from powerful than getting delayed and stagnated. Next is shrink the feedback loop. Big multi-layer strategic plans are breeding grounds for inertia. By the time a 12-month project launches, the market has already changed. And therefore, this is called the blueprint shift. Break massive corporate goals into micro action with rapid feedback loops. Shift fast, measure result, learn, iterate. Keep the organization's and its body moving every single week, not every single year. Next, which is the third point, is ruthlessly eliminate busy work. Disguised as work, team love to look busy. They send dozens of status update emails, sit in back-to-back alignment meetings, and build elaborate slide decks about work rather than doing the work. And therefore, this is basically require much more deeper thought. You need to audit your company's operational rhythm. Ask your teams, does this meeting, report, or process directly maintain or grow the body of your enterprise? If it doesn't, The drive tangible execution, cut it out. Now, number four, lead from the front line. Inactivity often starts at the top. When CEOs isolate themselves in ivory towers, looking only at high level financial sheets, they lose touch with the operational friction of the execution. What you need to do now? Emulate the ultimate leadership archetypes. In the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagwan Krishna wasn't sitting miles away and telling Arjun what to do from a safe distance. He was right there on the chariot in the middle of the battlefield, guiding every move. Be close to the execution, understanding where your teams are stuck, and then you need to clear their path. To wrap up all this together, leadership is not about having the cleanest spreadsheet or the most sophisticated theory. It's about the momentum, it's about moving forward. So, wisdom of chapter 3, verse 8 remind us that our primary duty as a leader is to act, to choose execution over comfort, to choose momentum over stagnation, to recognize that without constant intentional action, even the strongest corporate body will wither away. So, friends, here is my challenge for you today. What is that one critical decisions you have been putting off for quite some time? What initiative has been sitting in the review for too long because you were waiting for a perfect condition? So do let me know in the comments below. Stop waiting for certainty. Step out onto the battlefield of execution. Do your duty and set your enterprise in motion. So, friends, if you found this valuable breakdown of the ancient wisdom for the modern leadership, make sure to hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts in the comments below, and share this video with fellow leaders who need to hear it today. Thanks for watching. Lead with action, and I will catch you again in the next one. Hello friends, how did the India turn thousands of kilometers of concrete into a massive financial engine? In this video, we break down India's ambitious 35,000 crore highway asset monetization strategy for year 27, which is next year, 2027. The National Highway Authority of India is leveraging Infrastructure Investment Trust and the toll operate transfer TOT model to recycle public assets by monetizing 28 national highway stretches span over 1,800 kilometers. The government is creating a sustainable revenue stream to fund the future infrastructure development across the country. Let us learn more about it. Imagine you own a house, but instead of just living in it, you could rent out a spare room to earn enough money to build a second house. That is essentially what India is doing with its highway. Welcome back. Today we are diving into a massive financial strategy, how the National Highway Authority of India, which is NHAI, is turning thousands of kilometers of concrete into 35,000 crore cash ATM. This isn't just about collecting tolls, it's a sophisticated blueprint for modern infrastructure development known as asset monetization. Let's break down how it works. So, friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. To understand the 35,000 crore figure, we have to look at the National Monetization Pipeline or NMP launched in 2021. The NMP is a government initiative to unlock the value of existing brownfield infrastructure assets. Think of it this way. The government has already spent billions building these highways. Once they are operational, they don't need to be built anymore. They need to be maintained. Government realized they could invite private investors to take over the operations of these complete road, and in exchange the government gets an upfront lump sum of cash. This cash is then recycled to build new roads, bridges and expressway. It's a perpetual cycle of growth. So how do they actually move the money? NHAI primarily use two powerful mechanisms. First, we have the toll operate transfer model, which is TOT model. Under TOT, the government grants a private player the right to collect tolls and maintain highway stretch for a specific period, usually 20 years. The private player pays the government a massive upfront fee for this right. It's a win-win. The investor gets stable long-term returns and the government gets immediate capital. Second, we have an infrastructure investment trust, or INVIT, INVITs. Think of it of an INVITs like a mutual fund but for roads. NHAI pools several operational highway assets into a trust and offer units to investors, from large pension fund down to retail individuals. Investor get regular dividend from toll revenue collected, and NHAI gets the capital to fund new massive projects. In fact, just this year, the maiden public issue of NHAI Rajmarg Investment Trust was oversubscribed 14 times, proving massive investor confidence. Now, a common question is, does this mean toll will skyrocket? The answer is no. The user fee are strictly regulated under a national highway fee rules. Furthermore, the government has built-in oversight. The agreement includes independent traffic surveyors, strict audit requirements for escrow accounts, and performance monitoring to ensure that the private concessionaries don't prioritize short-term profit at the cost of public goods. The goal isn't to gouge drivers, it's to make the entire ecosystem more efficient and more transparent. This isn't a one-time project. Under the National Monetization Pipeline or Policy 2.0, the government has identified highway assets worth about 4 lakh crores to be monetized through by 2030. For the current year, which is 26-27, the target is specifically 35,000 crores, involving just 28 highways stretching spanning over 1,800 kilometers. By shifting away from traditional budget dependency and moving towards market-driven financing, India is setting a global standard for how a country can leverage its own infrastructure to build a stronger economic future. From an asset-heavy government to an asset-light facilitator, India's approach to highways is changing. So, what do you think, friends? Is this the right way to fund our nation's growth? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell icon for more deep dives into Indian economy. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining live. I will catch you again in the next one. But before I leave, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. comes with tripod ready, comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now, hello friends, welcome. In an era of rapid disruption, volatile markets, and constant changes, CEOs often struggle with the external matrices of success. But what happens when you lead from a place of indestructible purpose? We explore how shifting your perspective from transient to the eternal allows you to lead with unwavering clarity, courage, and resilience. Let's go and discuss this further. In the modern boardroom, we talk a lot about disruption, market volatility, and competitive threats. We treat these, like an isolated business problems to be solved with spreadsheet and strategies, etc. But what if the stress you are feeling, the weight of the responsibility, isn't just a business problem? What if it's a deeper existential calling? So welcome friends. Today we are just talking about leadership tactics. We are also talking about a 7,000-year-old framework that is arguably the ultimate guide for a CEO in the 21st century, and that is Bhagavad Gita. Specifically, we are diving into chapter 2 verse 18, a verse that serves as a profound, uncompromising mandate for any leader. And the verse starts like this, and the quote begins: what can be destroyed is the external body housing the imperishable and indestructible soul. O descendants of Bharat, arise and fight. And the quote close. So, friend, before we move forward, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let us decode this particular verse. Let's break down the verse. Krishna is speaking to Arjun, a warrior paralyzed by the gravity of his situation. He says, what can be destroyed is the external body. Think about your business, your quarterly results, your stock price, your office space, your current product line, even your brand reputation. These are the external bodies of your organization. They are, by definition, subject to change. They can be destroyed. As a CEO, we spend 99% of our time obsessing over these external transient things. We tie our identity to them. When the company hits a slump, we feel like we are falling. When the market shifts, we feel like our mission is dying. But Krishna's message is that there is an imperishable soul. The core mission of your integrity, your vision, and the true value you provide to the world, that cannot be destroyed. When you lead from the core, you stop being a slave to the volatile market. You stop leading out of fear of losses, and you start leading from a place of unshakable principle. So, if the external is temporary, does that mean we should just give up and meditate in a cave? No. The words command, arise and fight. This is the part that resonates most with the CEO's reality. Many leaders suffer from analysis paralysis or the fear of making the wrong move. But here, the command is clear. You are in a position of power and you have a duty. Arising is an act of clarity. It means standing up, shedding the paralysis of doubt, and aligning yourself with your deeper purpose. Fighting isn't about being aggressive or ruthless. It's about being decisive. It's about taking the responsibility of your role and executing your vision without attachment to the outcome. So when you know that your core mission is indestructible, you make better decisions. You become bold, because you realize that even if the external body of a specific project fails, your fundamental commitment to truth and value remains intact. You stop playing not to lose and start playing to win. How do you apply this tomorrow morning in your boardroom meeting or in your office? There are a few things I would like to share with you. First, detach from the outcome. When you sit down for that high stake meeting, remind yourself that the deal or the result is an external event. Your integrity and your duty are what matters now. Number two, identify your soul. What is the core, unchangeable mission of your company? Define it, write it down, and let that be your North Star, your guiding principle. Number three, execute with presence. When it's time to make a hard call, a layoff, a pivot, or a merger, don't do it from a place of anxiety. Do it from a place of duty. That is the warrior spirit. The world doesn't need more CEOs who are just managing, declining, or fearing the next disruption. The world needs leaders who understand that they are part of something larger, something that cannot be extinguished by by a down quarter or changing markets. You are not just a manager of assets; you are steward of a vision. So acknowledge the temporary, embrace your duty, and most importantly, arise and fight. So friends, thanks for watching. If this resonates with you, I will love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. How are you leading from your imperishable core today? Until next time, stay focused and lead with purpose. See you in the next one.
Hello, friends. Let me ask you, are you striving for perfection or are you seeking the essence of the leadership? It's a very profound question, and therefore, to answer this, we dive deep into one of the most profound leadership lessons from Bhagavad Gita. While many CEOs focus on KPIs, scaling, and operational perfection, the Gita reveals a deeper level of mastery that only a fraction of leaders ever reach. How this works? Let's explore this further. To most CEO spending their entire lives, climbing the ladder. They climb the corporate ladder, they climb the revenue charts, and they climb the industry rankings. But here is the uncomfortable truth. Reaching the top of the mountain is not the same thing as mastering the mountains. In the world of high-stake business, we are obsessed with perfection. We want perfect systems, perfect quarters, and perfect products. But ancient wisdom suggests that the perfection is merely the entrance fee. It is not the final destination. Thousands of years ago, on a battlefield of a different kind, Bhagwan Krishna spoke a verse that serves as a startling wake-up call for the modern leaders. And this is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, verse 3. And it says, quote starts, among the thousands of men, hardly one strive for perfection, and of those who strive and succeed, hardly one knows me in essence. Quote close. Today we are going to look at why most leaders stop at the first half of that verse, and why the essence is the secret to the world's most enduring legacies. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. Let's look at the first part of the verse. Bhagwan Krishna acknowledges that even striving for perfection is rare. In business, striving for perfection is what we call the operational excellence. It is the Six Sigma, the lean management, the 80-hour work week. Out of the thousands of entrepreneurs
only a handful actually have the discipline to build a perfect machine. If you are a CEO, you are likely mastered this. You know how to optimize, you know how to win, etc. etc. But here is a trap. The perfection is static. Perfection is about following the rules of the game better than anyone else. And if you strive for perfection, you are a master of the mechanics, but you are not yet master of the essence. Most CEO get stuck here because the rewards for perfections are high. You get the bonuses, accolades, and the market share. You think you made it, but the Gita warns us that this is the only first filter. Now the second half of the verse, quote starts, even amongst those who have attained the perfection, hardly a soul understand me in essence. Quote close. For a CEO, what is this essence? If perfection is how, essence is the why, and if perfection is the form, essence is the force. Think of the difference between CEO who builds a successful phone company and someone like Steve Jobs. Thousands could be built a functional smartphones, etc. That is perfection. But Jobs understood the essence of human connection and beauty, and that is the essence. In Sanskrit, this is known as tattva. Now let's discuss about how to understand the essence. Seeing the invisible is the first aspect of understanding. Knowing the pulse of your culture when you aren't in the room. That is such a key here. Knowing the pulse of your culture when you're not even watching, right? Number two is predicting the shift. Understanding the fundamental laws of human desire before the data shows them. Third is detached action. Leading with a sense of purpose that isn't tied to the ego of the result. Right? Most leaders miss this because they are too busy looking at the success. They are blinded by their own brilliance. Why is it that hardly one understands the essence? Because understanding the essence requires unlearning. To reach the perfection, you need a strong ego. You need to believe you are the smartest person in the room. But to understand the essence, you must surrender the ego. You have to admit that the business doesn't move because of you, but through you. In the Gita, Bhagwan Krishna is the source of all the things. In business, the essence is the fundamental truth of your industry and your impact on humanity. When a CEO understands the essence, they stop reacting to competitors, they start responding to the truth, they move from managing people to moving souls. So ask yourself today, where are you on this path? Are you the one of the thousands who hasn't yet started the journey towards perfection? Or are you among the successful few who have built a perfect machine but feels like something is still missing? The Gita doesn't tell us this is, to discourage us. It tells us this to show how much more is possible. The greatest leader in history, the one who we talked for centuries, were the ones who moved past the how and touched the essence. They didn't just build the companies; they understood the fundamental laws of universe and applied them to their work. Your challenge this week, therefore, is look past your spreadsheet, look past your KPI, ask yourself, what is the essence of what we are doing here? Because perfection is the destination, but essence is the beginning. So friends, thanks for watching. And if you're already moved from perfection to essence, subscribe for more leadership insight from world greatest wisdom traditions, which is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to send it across. Before I wind up, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Namaskaram, you are most welcome. Let me ask you, is your intense drive for success actually clouding your executive judgment? In the high stake world of business, ambition is often praised, but unconscious attachment to the specific outcome can be fatal flaw for a CEO. In this video, therefore, we break down a powerful 5,000-year-old leadership principle from Bhagavad Gita, and it applies to the modern business strategy as well. We will explore why hyper fixation on result often lead to frustration, team friction, and the tunnel vision, which will basically flaw your decision making. Let's go and explore this further. We are told that ambition is the fuel for the CEOs. We are told that if you aren't obsessed with the outcome, you don't have don't have that in you. You don't deserve the prize. We are taught to visualize the finish line, too fixated on the market share, and to burn the midnight oil for the bottom line. But what if I told you that your greatest asset, your relentless drive, is actually the very thing sabotaging your strategy? In the world of high stakes business, we often confuse passion with attachment. We think that if we stop obsessing over the outcome, we have already lost our edge. But the ancient wisdom suggests exactly the opposite. Today, we are looking at 5,000-year-old psychological framework from the Bhagavad Gita, specifically chapter 2, verse 62, that explain exactly why your ambition might be creating a cognitive bias that is costing you your company's future. Let's dive in. The verse in question is profound. It describes a precise mechanical chain reaction that occurs in the human mind when we lose our perspective. The Sanskrit verse effectively breaks down into ladder of a fall. Let's look at the at this particular verse. First is you are fixated on the object, which is basically contemplation. A specific revenue target, a competitor to beat, or a product launch. Next is attachment. That contemplation turns into the emotional dependency. You aren't just working towards the goal, your identity is tied to it. And next is desire, because you're attached. You develop an intense nagging desire for this specific outcome to happen exactly the way you have imagined. And lastly, the frustration. When reality inevitably doesn't align perfectly with your internal blueprint, frustration sets in. And what is the result? And from that frustration, anger, confusion, poor decision making, etc., will come out. Think about last time you made a bad decision. I don't mean a decision that had bad data. I mean a decision where you knew the market was shifting or you knew the product wasn't ready, but you push forward anyway. Why? Because you were attached to the idea of win. You weren't playing the market, you were playing your own ego. In the boardroom, we call this the tunnel vision. When the CEO becomes attached to an outcome, their ability to process new information gets completely shut down. If you're attached to the idea that your product must dominate the market now, you stop listening to the customer feedback that says the product needs some changes. You view the feedback not as data but as a threat to your goal. This is the sabotage. When you are attached, you are no longer the captain of the ship. You are a passenger of your own ego. You start forcing the strategy to fit your desire rather than adjusting your strategy to fit the reality. The verse tells us that when this desire is unfulfilled, it leads to anger. In a business context, this doesn't always look like shouting at the board meeting. It often looks like number one, refusing to cut losses on a falling project. Toxic culture where failure is punished, so team hide data from you. Impulsive, high risk, bet the company move just to prove that you are right. So if the ambition is a trap, do you just stop trying? Do we become passive? Absolutely not. This is the biggest misconception about the ancient philosophy. The goal is not to be indifferent, the goal is to be detached. Think of a world class surgeon. If a surgeon becomes attached to the outcome, if they are paralyzed by the fear of their patient dying, their hand will shake. This will be ineffective. To be a great surgeon, you must be detached from the result while being intensely focused on the procedure. For a CEO, the strategic detachment looks like this: objective input. You analyze market data as if it was about someone else's company. You strip away the what they, I want this to work and replace it with does this work? And process oriented leadership. You define success by the quality of your strategy and the health of your team, not by the arbitrary number on the spreadsheet. If you do the right work, result will follow. And lastly, the intellectual agility. Because you aren't married to a single outcome, you can pivot instantly when the market change. You aren't defending any ego, you are defending the company's survival. I want you to try a simple exercise this week. Identify a project where you feel the most pressure. Ask yourself, am I working to make this the best possible outcome, or am I working to protect my ego from the possibility of the failure? If it's the latter, you are in an attachment trap. You are operating from the place of fear, not a place of strategy. When you release the attachment to the outcome, you regain your intelligence. You stop being reactive. You stop seeing the team as an extension of your own ambition and start seeing them as the expert they were hired to be. Ironically, when you stop forcing the outcome, your execution becomes cleaner, your becomes more engaged, and your result, more often than not, actually improves. The Bhagavad Gita warning is timeless. The moment you think you must have a specific result to be successful, you have already lost your freedom. So, friends, stay ambitious, stay hungry, but learn to hold your plan with an open hand, not clenched fist. When you detach from the ego driven need to win, you finally become free to actually lead. If this resonated with you, if you have felt that attachment creeping into your own decision making, hit that like button and let me know in the comments what is the one area of your business where you need to be practice more strategic detachment. My name is CK, and I will see you again in the next one.
bold new roadmap reshapes Indian classroom with a skill-based learning, multilingual literacy, and technology-driven education, preparing students not just for marks but for life. Education in India is entering a new chapter. The Central Board of Secondary Education has announced a sweeping curriculum revamp that will take effect from 2026. And it promises to reshape the way millions of students experience learning. For decades, Indian school system had been criticized for its heavy reliance on rote memorizations, exam pressures, and limited focus on skills. This roadmap is CBSE's attempt to break away from the mold and align classroom with the vision of National Education Policy 2020. At the heart of the revamp is a shift towards skill-based learning. Instead of simply reproducing textbook answers, students will be encouraged to think critically, solve problems creatively, and collaborate with the peers. The idea is to prepare them not just for exam, but for the life beyond school, whether in higher education, the workplace, or society at large. Teachers will be expected to integrate projects, presentations, and real-world case studies into their lessons, making learning more engaging and practical. One of the most debated actually changes in is the three-language rule. Under the new framework, students will study 3 languages up to class 10, with at least one being an Indian language. Supporters argue that this will strengthen cultural roots, multilingual literacy, while the critics worry that it may add stress to students already juggling with multiple subjects. The policy reflects CBSE's attempt to balance global competitiveness with a national identity. So if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will determine the reach of our channel. So going forward, another major reform in the reduction of content load. The syllabus will be streamlined to focus on core concept, cutting down an excessive detail that often overwhelmed students. And this will free up time for experimentations, experiential learning activities in the lab and the field projects and creative exploration. So alongside this, CBSE plan to integrate technology and digital tools into classroom. So adapted learning platform, AI assist resources, and online practical module will become the part of everyday teaching, ensuring students are comfortable with the digital world they will inherit. Assessment will also undergo a transformation. The traditional high-stake exam model will give way to continuous competency-based evaluation. Marks will be no longer hinged solely on the 3-hour test. Instead, projects, practical, and presentation will carry a greater weight. And this change is expected to reduce exam stress and provide a more accurate picture of students' ability. The impact of this reform will be felt across the ecosystem. Students will find their education more engaging and less mechanical. Teachers, however, will face little challenge of adopting the new method, mastering the digital tools, and rethinking how they evaluate performance. And parents too will need to adjust their expectation, as success will no longer be measured by exam scores but by skill and competencies. Of course, challenges remains. Like training teachers across India's vast and diverse school network is no small task. Ensuring rural schools have access to digital infrastructure will require significant investment, and the three language rule may face resistance from families who fear it add unnecessary burden. Yet, despite these hurdles, the roadmap signals a bold step towards modernizing Indian education. So, what do you think about this? We have come to the end of this live stream, and thanks for watching. I would request you to like and subscribe our channel, and see you in the next one. But before we close this live streaming, a few words about our affiliate partner.
Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
Nagarjuna's vision of emptiness offers balance, resilience, and wisdom for the challenges of our interconnected 21st century world. In the grand tapestry of Indian philosophy, few figures stand as tall and as enigmatic as Nagarjuna, the 2nd century Buddhist philosopher, often regarded as the most influential thinker after Buddha himself. His contribution lies in the systematic exposition of Shunyavad, the doctrine of emptiness, which became the cornerstone of Madhyamaka school of Mahayana Buddhism. In 2026, Shunyavad, the philosophy of emptiness articulated by Naga Arjun, remains strikingly relevant, not just as a spiritual doctrine, but as a lens through which we can interpret the modern life, technology, and society. So Nagarjuna's genius was to show that this emptiness applies not only to the worldly appearances but also to the ultimate reality. He argued that both samsara, that means the cycle of birth and death, and nirvana, that is liberation, are empty of inherent existence. This radical insight collapsed the duality between bondage and liberation, suggesting that the absolute is not something separate from the world, but the very ground of all appearances. So with the geopolitical tensions, climate change, economic stress, and the doctrine of emptiness teaches resilience at this point of time, that means in 2026. So by recognizing that the cries are not permanent entities, but dependent on the cause and conditions, and we approach them with the flexibility rather than despair. And this is the way to go forward when we understand the teaching of Nagarjuna. So it is important to note that the Nagarjuna did not invent Shunyavad. The seeds of this doctrine were already present in Mahayana Sutras even before his time. What makes Nagarjuna remarkable is that he gathered these scattered threads and wove them into a coherent, rigorous philosophical system. He gave Shunyavad its intellectual depth, transforming it from mystical insight into a dialectical method that could withstand scrutiny. In an era of stress, identity crisis, and the idea that self is empty of fixed essence can be liberating. So it helps individual detach from the rigid ego construct and embrace fluidity, and reducing anxiety about permanence and control. So if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us to determine the reach of our channel. So we were talking about Shunyavad, and Shunyavad often misunderstood as nihilism. And sometimes called it is denial, but it is not a denial of reality. The Shunya literally means void or empty, but in Nagarjuna's philosophy, it carries a subtle meaning. It refers to the absence of inherent existence, that is swabhav. When we talk in Hindi, all phenomena, according to him, arise in dependence on cause and conditions. A principle known as something when we understand pratyaksh, and then we analyze that, and or it depend where it dependent originated. So because things exist only in the relation to other things, and they cannot possess an independent permanent essence. So in this sense, they are empty. And in a world dominated by artificial intelligence, virtual realities, and shifting identities, Shunyavad reminds us that phenomena lacks inherent existence. Just as an AI model or digital avatar has no fixed essence outside its relational context, so to do human construct exist only through interdependence. So his dialectical method expressed in his teaching dismantle very philosophical position by showing its contradictions. Whether one assert existence, non-existence, both or neither, Nagarjuns demonstrate that each claim lead to a logical impasses. Reality, he insists, that transcends these categories. So it cannot be captured by intellect, which is inherently actually discursive or relational. So true understanding comes only through a direct spiritual realization. So as India revamp its curriculum like CBSE in 2026 roadmap, and Shunavad offers a philosophical foundation for the critical thinking, challenging rigid categories and encouraging students to see the knowledge as dynamic and contextual and interconnected. So the middle path that Nagarjuna champions avoid the extreme of eternalism, the belief in which is permanent existence, and nihilism, that is denial of all realities. So by affirming emptiness, he does not negate the world's but actually reveals its relational nature. Appearances are real enough in empirical sense, but they lack ultimate substance. The absolute meanwhile is not a thing but a non-dual reality in which all distinctions dissolve. So this philosophy had a profound implication. It reshaped Buddhist metaphysics, influenced later thinkers in Tibet and China and Japan, even resonate with the modern philosophers who saw in Nagarjuna's prosecutors to ritualism and relationalism and demonstration. So his instances that the concept collapse under their own weight anticipate contemporary critics of language and meaning. So Shunyavad's emphasis or interdependence resonate with the ecological thought. It reminds us that the human nature technologies are not separate entity but a part of a web of condition and an insight crucial for sustainability in 2026. Yet, Nagarjuna's aim was not merely intellectual. His philosophy was deeply soteriological, and it means to liberate. So, by realizing the emptiness of all things, one is freed from clinging or aversions or delusion. The realization of Shunya is or we say Shunyata, that is the realization of nirvana itself. So in the end, Nagarjuna's contribution lies in his ability to articulate the infables. He took the Buddha's insight into dependent origination and expanded it into a comprehensive philosophy of emptiness. Shunyavad, for being a doctrine of despair, Shunyavad is a doctrine of freedom actually. So it teaches that by seeing through the illusion of inherent existence, we awaken to the non-dual reality where the samsara and the nirvana are not opposite but unified. So this is a resolution of thought that Nagarjuna gifted to the world, a vision that continues to inspire seeker and scholars alike. Please send your comments, subscribe our channel, and for more insight into Indian spirituality and mythology. See you in the next one. But before we end this live stream, a few words about our affiliate partner.
Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Are modern corporate strategists missing the bigger picture? In this video, we explore why many contemporary executives struggle with the ecosystem test and how a 5,000-year-old leadership framework from Bhagavad Gita offers the ultimate blueprint for sustainable business success. In this video, we will discover the power of universal reciprocity, the ancient economic principle of mutual give and take that drives the modern stakeholder capitalism. Learn why true corporate growth isn't about extraction but about nurturing the entire business ecosystem from employees and customers to the broader community. Let's go. Namaskaram friends, you're most welcome. Imagine running a machine where you pull out all the internal gears, burn them for the quick fuel, and marvel at how fast the engine spins for the first 10 minutes. It looks like brilliance. The stock ticks up and the Q3 earning beat projections. The market applauds, and then total catastrophic seizure. This is a modern corporate trap. Around the world, brilliant, highly educated, data-driven CEOs are falling and also failing what I call the ecosystem test. They treat business like extraction from a mine rather than living, breathing organism. They optimize for the quarter, but they starve the entire century. Today, we are going to look at why this happens, why modern leadership models are fundamentally broken, and how a piece of ancient text written over 5,000 years ago offers the exact blueprint for building empires that actually endure. Let's look at the modern CEO's dilemma. You are evaluating on speed, efficiency, and also short-term return on investment. You are getting evaluated yourself, and also you are evaluating your team. Business schools teach us to minimize the cost, streamline operations, and maximize shareholder value. On paper, it sounds flawless, but in reality, it creates a toxic loop of one-way extraction. Think about it, friends. What happens when a company views its employee merely as human capital or quote-unquote units to be squeezed for maximum output? Burnout spikes, institutional knowledge walks out of the door, and the innovation flatlines completely. What happens when a corporation treats its supply chain partners like advertisers, beating down their margins until they break down? One supply shock, one global crisis, and the entire enterprise collapses because the network beneath it was never nurtured or even nourished. It was completely exploited. Modern CEO fail the ecosystem test because they suffer from that dangerous illusion. The belief that a company can thrive in isolation from the health of its surrounding environment. They think they are the captain of the spaceship, when in reality, they are the gardener of the ecosystem. And if you poison the soil, nothing can grow, right? Now, you might ask, is there a better way, or is ruthless extraction just the price of doing business in the 21st century? To answer this, let's travel back a millennia to Bhagavad Gita. Today we're talking about chapter 3, verse 11. In this verse, Bhagwan Krishna shares a profound universal law. And the verse starts, sacrifice pleases the Devtas, who then satisfy those who have performed the sacrifices. This reciprocation between God and mankind benefits all. And the quote close. Now let's strip away the ancient terminology so we can see the raw economic and the leadership genius behind this. In ancient context, Devtas referred to the divine force of the nature, the rain, the sun, the wind that sustain life. But in modern leadership context, your Devtas are the stakeholders, your employees, your customers, your suppliers, your community, and the environment. They are sustaining forces for your business, right? Do you agree or not? Do let me know in the comments below. And moving forward, what does the sacrifice means here? It doesn't mean giving up or losing out. It in its original Sanskrit root, which is known as yagna, sacrifice means conscious contribution, sacred investment, and active nurturing. The verse is stating an immutable law of business physics. You must nourish the ecosystem that sustain you before that ecosystem can sustain you back. It is a cycle of mutual give and take. Let's break down how this plays out in the real world of modern enterprise. Look at the companies that dominate our era. The one that, weather economic winters and emerge stronger each time. They don't just extract value, they generate it across every node of their network. Take employee relations. The transactional CEO looks at the payroll as the cost to be minimized. The ecosystem CEO looks at the employee well-being as fertile soil. When you invest in your people through, even providing psychological safety, continuous learning, and fair compensation, you aren't just being nice. You are feeding the source of your innovation. The employees in return feed the company with loyalty and discretionary effort and creative problem solving. That is Bhagavad Gita's chapter 3 verse 11 in action. Nourish them and they will nourish you back. Look at the partnership and between suppliers and the business. The failing CEO squeezes suppliers to the brink of bankruptcy to pad a single quarter cash flow. The ecosystem CEO treats supplier as a co-creator of the value. When your supply chain is resilient, profitable, and secure, your business is secure as well. Look at the community and the environment. Pushing pollution or social neglect onto the community is the ultimate form of one-way extraction. Eventually, the bill will become due through regulatory crackdowns, consumer boycotts, or societal collapse. When a CEO fails to give back to the ecosystem eventually stops giving back to them. Market punishes them, talent abandons them, and trust evaporates. So, friends, how do we pass this ecosystem test? How do modern leaders transition from extraction to reciprocity? It requires 3 radical shifts in the mindset. First, shift from shareholder primacy to stakeholder stewardship. So, Milton Friedman era of shareholder primacy is dead now. A company is not just a financial instrument, it's a social organism. When you optimize for the collective health of employees, customers, suppliers, and the planet, shareholder value doesn't disappear. It becomes sustainable, compounding, and bulletproof. Second, adopt the mindset of investor and like a gardener. Ask yourself every morning, what am I putting into ecosystem today? Am I withdrawing trust or am I depositing it? Am I draining energy from my team or am I fueling their growth? Leadership is no longer about giving orders from an ivory tower. It's about tending to the roots of your enterprise. And finally, the third, design the long term loop, not short term spikes. Every strategic decision should be filtered through the question. And the question is, does this action create a flywheel of mutual benefit, or is this a short term hack at someone else's expense? If it doesn't benefit the whole, it will eventually destroy the entire ecosystem. 5,000 years ago, the Gita taught us a simple, unbreakable truth. By nourishing one another, we attain the highest good. The greatest CEO of our generation will not be remembered for how much capital they extracted in a single quarter. They will be remembered for how much life, resilience, and prosperity they cultivated across their entire ecosystem. The market is completely changed. The world is watching, and the ecosystem test is coming for every single one of us. The question isn't whether your business can extract enough to survive today. The question is, are you giving back to ensure it thrives tomorrow? So, friends, if you have any questions, do send it across. Thanks for watching. If this resonated with you, hit the subscribe, share this with leaders who need to hear it, and let's build a better model for leadership together. See you in the next one.
Hello, friends. Namaskaram. In an era where the CEOs are obsessed with analytics, KPIs, and AI driven insights, there is a fundamental element of business and humanity itself that numbers simply cannot quantify. Therefore, in this video, we explore the profound leadership lessons that we learn from Bhagavad Gita. And we will actually discuss one particular verse which describes the soul as something amazing to witness yet impossible to fully decode, serves as a powerful metaphor for the CEO's blind spot. Let's go and discuss this further. As CEOs, we live by numbers. We are trained to believe that if we can measure it, we can manage it. We optimize our supply chain, we do A and B tests, and we also test our marketing. We use AI to predict market shifts. We pride ourselves on being data driven. But let me ask you a simple question. How often have you made a perfect decision based on all the available data only for it to fail sometime later because of something which you missed and that was intangible? Maybe it was a culture issue, you didn't see it coming, or sudden shift in consumer feelings that no spreadsheet could capture. Today, I want to talk about your biggest professional blind spot. It is not a lack of data, it is the mistaken belief that data is the only reality. We are going to look at this through the lens of an ancient wisdom, a verse from Bhagavad Gita that suggests there are dimensions of reality that remains by definition beyond our decoding. So friends, if you have reached this far, please let us know from which city you have tuned in, and which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's look at the verse now. In this verse, the text describes the nature of the soul, which is the essence of a person or the inner spark, using three words. And the quote starts, for some, the soul is amazing to see, for some, it is perplexing to hear, and for some, it is a mystery when described. No one has really been able to decode the soul as yet. And the quote close. Think about the word mystery. In business, we hate that word. We want clarity. We want an algorithm. But this ancient teaching reminds us that the most vital part of life, and by extension, the core of our business success, are inherently indecodable. You cannot put a human soul, a leader's intuition, or the spark of the innovation into a KPI report. So, why is this CEO's blind spot? Because when we try to decode our team as if they are the machines, we lose them completely. The engagement gap also can define this. You can track hours worked by your team, but you cannot track the soul of and the passion of your employees. And the third point could be the vision gap. The strategy is the data. Vision is a mystery. People follow leaders who are comfortable with the mystery, not just leaders who are comfortable with Excel. So, when we focus only on the decodable, we become reactive. We ignore the pulse of our organization. We miss the amazing things happening right in front of us because we are too busy looking at the metrics of the past. So, friends, what does this mean for our daily routine? It doesn't mean throwing away your data, it means developing a different kind of executive presence. Embrace the unknown. When you face a crisis, don't just look for more data. Ask, what is the human element here that I'm not measuring? You can also look at, a method of cultivating intuitions. Intuition is just high speed pattern recognition filtered through experience. It is your internal vision of seeing the amazing. You could also consider, the space itself, which holds the mystery. If your team feels like they are line items, they feel they will perform like line item itself because that's what they believe. If you treat them as a part of a mystery that is still unfolding, that is unique and valuable. You tap into their true potential. The Bhagavad Gita tells us that the soul is a mystery, and it is beauty also. Maybe your business is too in a similar fashion. Stop trying to decode everything. Start embracing the mystery, and that is where the real growth will happen. So, friends, my name is CK. Thanks for watching. And if this shift your perspective today, subscribe for more ways to lead with both clarity and humanity. And I will catch you again in the next one.
For years, Anthropic Claude was known for as a conversational powerhouse on AI that could reason, that could assist, and also solve the complex tasks. But today, in 2026, the company has decided to redraw the boundaries of creativity. With the debut of Claude Design, Anthropic actually has stepped boldly into the visual arena, and where it offers the tool that transform and to the plain language into a polished and presentation prototype and marketing visual. This is not just another AI feature, but it is reimagination of how the idea takes shape. No templates, no plain canvases, just words flowing into images. For entrepreneurs, for educators and the creators, Claude Design promises speed and accessibility. And for a design industry, it raises the questions about the originality and artistry, and the role of human imagination in the era of machine learning, machine marketing, visual. So let's find out more about this. In the spring of 2026, the Anthropic, the company best known for its conversational AI assist Claude, and unveiled the bold new frontiers. The Claude Design, which is actually making a lot of waves in the industry. This debut marks a significant expansion of the Claude ecosystem, moving beyond the text and the code into the realm of visual creation. For years, the Anthropic had positioned itself as a competitor to OpenAI and Google in the natural language space. But with the Claude Design, it signals a deep ambition to redefine how humans interact with creativity itself. The cloud design is powered by Anthropic's most advanced model, Cloud Opus 4.7, a multi-model system capable of interacting not just words but visual concepts, and that this also allows the tool that the user to describe an idea into a natural language. A sleek pitch deck for a fintech startup or a prototype layout for a mobile app, and watch that the AI generates a polished professional grade visuals. Presentation, one pager, product mock-ups, and marketing materials can be drafted in minutes. And bypassing the traditional blank canvas problem that has a long haunted designers and entrepreneurs. So the launch of cloud design is not just about convenience. It is about accessibility. And Anthropic envisions a world where the founder, the product managers, and the market people who may lack formal design training can still produce compelling visual that communicate their ideas effectively. In this sense, the cloud design democratizes creativity, lowering the barriers and accelerating the workflow. So if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you are watching and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us to determine the reach of our channel. So moving forward, for startups, the implications are enormous. A founder preparing for an investor's pitch can now generate a professional deck overnight. So marketers can prototype campaign visuals without actually waiting for a design team. And even the educator and the students can use cloud design to create very designing and engaging presentation with minimal effort. And unsurprisingly, the debut has sparked comparison with the established platform like Canva, Figma, and Adobe Photoshop. So analysts have already begun asking whether cloud design could be Canva killer. While the Canva revolutionized the design by offering templates, drag and drop simplicity, the cloud design goes a step further. It eliminates the need for templates altogether. Instead, it listens to language and interprets the intent and produces the visual that feels tailored to the user's vision. And this shift from template to driven design to AI driven creations could reshape the competitive landscape. If the cloud design succeed, it may force incumbents to integrate deeper AI capabilities into platform, accelerating the industry's evolution. So yet, as with all generative AI, cloud design raises questions. Can AI generated visual truly match the nuances and artistry of human designers? Will the reliance of AI homogenize the creativity, producing output that feels polished but lack originality? And what of copyright and ownership? Who truly owns a AI generated design, the user or the algorithm? Now, the critics also warn the ethical risk, and just as the test-based AI has misused to generate misinformation, visual AI could be exploited to create misleading prototypes, fake branding, or even the counterfeit the documents. The Anthropic insists that safeguards are in place, but the debate is far from the settled. So you will also agree that there's a turning point in AI creativity which is on rise. The Claude Design debut is more than a product launch. It is turning point in the story of AI creativity. For Anthropic, it represents a strategic pivot from being a text first company to embrace the multimodal intelligence. And for user, it offers a glimpse of future where the language itself becomes the interface for the design. Now, when I'm just telling you about this, I also get worried. I am with the critics because nowadays the children are also very tech savvy, and they will love Anthropic Cloud because they can turn their language into a picture which they love most because they hate writing, right? So this is something which I think I need your comments on this. Now, going forward, for a society, it raises the profound question that is there about the role of human artistry in the age where the machine can generate beauty at scale. So, Anthropic cloud design is both exhilarating and unsettling. It promises speed, accessibility, and democratization, but also challenges long held notion of originality and authorship. As a business educator and creator, experiment with this new tool. The world will have to decide whether AI-led design is a complement to human creativity or a competitor. So in the end, cloud design it is not just about making visual easier. It is about redefining the very act of creation, turning the words into the images, the ideas into the artifacts. Whether it becomes a cornerstone of a creative economy or a cautionary tale will depend on how wisely we balance innovation with integrity. So we have come to the end. Thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe our channel. So see you in the next one. But before we end, few words about our affiliate partner.
Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. नमस्कार दोस्तों, आप सभी का स्वागत है। और आज 2 जून का तारीख है आज, और आज तो मंगलवार है। तो आज अपना दिन शुरू करने से पहले हम हनुमान जी की प्रार्थना करेंगे और हम हनुमान चालीसा का पाठ करेंगे। आप भी हमारे साथ जुड़े और हनुमान चालीसा का पाठ करें। चलिए शुरू करते हैं। श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज, निज मन मुकुर सुधार, वर्णव रघुबर बिमल जसु, जो दायक फल चार। बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके, सुमरो पवन कुमार। बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहे, हरेउ क्लेश विकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर, जय कपीस तेहु लोक उजागर। रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा, अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा। महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी, कुमति निवार सुमत के संगी। कंचन वरन विराज सुवेसा, कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा। हाथ वज्र ओ ध्वजा बराजे, कांधे मूज जनेऊ साजे।
शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन, तेज प्रताप महाजगबंदन, विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर, राम काज करवे को आतुर, प्रभु चरित्र सुनवे को रसिया, राम लखन सीता मन बसिया। सूक्ष्म रूप धरी सिंह दिखावा, विकट रूप धरी लंक जरावा, भीम रूप धरी असुर सहारे, रामचंद्र जी के काज संवारे। लाए सजीवन लखन जी आए, श्री रघुवीर हर्ष उर लाए, रघुपत कीनी बहुत बढ़ाई, तुम मम प्रिय भरत संभाई। सहस बदन तुमरो यश गावे, अस कही श्रीपति कंठ लगावे, सनकादि ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा, नारद सारद सहित अहिसा। जम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहां थे, कवि कोविद कही सके कहां थे, तुम उपकार सुग्रीव ही कीना, राम मिलाए राजपद दीना। तुमरो मंत्र विभीषण माना, लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना, जुग सहस्त्र जोजन पर भानु, लील्यो ताही मधुर फल जानू। प्रभु मुद्रिका मेल मुख माही, जलधि लांघे अचरज नाही, दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते, सुगम अनुग्रह तुमरे तेते। राम दुआरे तुम रखवाले, होत न आज्ञा बिन पैसारे, सब सुख लहे तुम्हारी सरना, तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना। आपन ते समारो आपे, तीनों लोग हाँकते कापे, भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे, महावीर जब नाम सुनावे। नासे रोग हरे सब पीरा, जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा, संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे, मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे। सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा, तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा, और मनोरथ जो कोई लाए, सोई अमित जीवन फल पाए। चारों युग प्रताप तुम्हारा, है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा, साधु संत के तुम रखवाले, असुर निकंदन राम दुआरे। अस सिद्धि नौ निधि के दाता, असवर दीन जानकी माता, राम रसायन तुमरे पासा, सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा। तुमरे भजन राम को पावे, जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे, अंत काल रघुवर पुर जाई, जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई। और देवता चित न धरे, हनुमत से सब सुख करे, संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा, जो सुमरे हनुमत बलबीरा। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई, कृपा करो गुरुदेव की नाई, जो सतपार पाठ कर कोई, छूटे बंदी महासुख होई। जो ये पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा, होए सिद्धि साकी गौरीसा। तुलसीदास सदा हरिचेरा, कीजे नाथ हृदय में डेरा। पवन तनय संकट हरन, मंगल मूरत रूप, राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसो सुरभू। आपका दिन मंगलमय हो। चलिए आज अपना दिन शुरू करते हैं। नमस्कार। Hello friends, NASA just revealed its next generation high performance space flight computing HPSC processor, a tiny system on a chip that operates nearly 500 times faster than the current space flight computers. Testing at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory JPL proves that the radiation hardened chip could completely eliminate delayed commands from mission control, allowing future rovers and deep space probes to think, navigate, and troubleshoot entirely on their own. Therefore, this is very significant, and in this video we break down how this revolutionary AI chip works, how it survives the brutal radiation of deep space, and what this means for upcoming crewed and robotic missions to the moon, Mars, and beyond. Let's go. Imagine you're driving a car down a busy highway, but there is a catch. Every time you turn the steering wheel or step on the brakes, it takes 20 minutes for car to actually react. Sounds like a total nightmare, right? Well, that is exactly how NASA has to drive every single rover, probe, and spacecraft currently exploring our solar system. Because of the staggering distance in deep space, radio signal traveling at the speed of light can take anywhere from few minutes to several hours to travel from Earth to place like Mars or Jupiter, and then any other beyond Jupiter, few hours to get a response back. If a rover encounters a sudden hazard like crumbling ledge or an unexpected dust storm, it can't wait for ground control to tell it what to do. It has to stop, shut down, and go into a protective, safe mode, waiting hours or days for humans to fix the problem. But in May 2026, NASA announces a breakthrough that will challenge the rules of space exploration forever. They have officially built and begun testing a revolutionary new brain for the spacecraft, a tiny microchip that allows deep space probe to finally think, react, and navigate entirely for themselves. So, friends, if you've reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's continue. To understand how massive this upgrade is, we first need to look at the dirty little secrets in the space industry. Space computers are surprisingly ancient. The smartphone in your pocket right now is exponentially faster and much more powerful than many computers on board NASA's most advanced rovers. Why? Because the consumer electronics on Earth don't have to survive a bombardment of high energy cosmic radiation or extreme temperature swing that would instantly fry a standard silicon chip. Space agencies have historically chosen safety and rugged reliability over raw processing speed, but space exploration has reached a bottleneck. Future missions to navigate subterranean caves on Mars or to plunge through icy plumes of Europa requires intense real-time data processing that old chips simply cannot handle. Enter the HPSC, which stands for High Performance Space Flight Computing. Developed through a landmark commercial partnership between NASA, Jet Propulsion Laboratory, and Microchip Technology Inc., this processor is a marvel of engineering. It's a system on a chip, or SoC, meaning it packs an entire computer worth of central processing unit, memory, controller, advanced networking units, and computational accelerator onto a single piece of silicon that fit right into the palm of your hand. And the performance numbers, what are the performance numbers? They are absolutely staggering. Preliminary tests show that the HPSC processor provides over 100 times the total computational capacity of the current space flight computers. But even wilder, in specific operating scenarios, its peak performance bursts up to 500 times faster than the radiation hardened chip in use today. So how does this works, and how did they do it? How did they build a chip that's this fast, doesn't melt in deep space? First, the HPSC is built on an open source 64-bit RISC-V architecture, which is RISC number 5 architecture, featuring a 10-core multi-processing system. Unlike the older single-core space chips that had to handle every instructions one by one, this multi-core system can delegate tasks. But space has another massive constraint, which is power. On a distant moon or out past Saturn, solar power is nearly non-existent, and every single watt of electricity from spacecraft's nuclear battery is very precious. The HPSC handles this with unprecedented flexibility. It features a dynamic granular power management architecture. If a spacecraft is just quietly coasting through deep space for a few months, operator can algo turn off the sections of the chip that aren't being used, dropping it into a ultra low power mode. But the second the spacecraft prepared to execute a complex high stake landing on a distant planet, the chip instantly powers up all its cores to process mountains of sensor data on the fly. Furthermore, it is designed from the ground up To be a fault tolerant and radiation hardened, high energy solar particles can randomly flip bits in computer's memory, causing critical code to crash. HPSC has built in hardware level error handling and a full defense grade security suite. It can detect a radiation induced error, correct the corrupted data in real time, and keep running without missing a beat, all the while being millions of miles away from the nearest repair technician. Now let's talk about this what this actually enables. Why does a spacecraft need a 500 times speed boost? It all comes down to autonomy and on-board artificial intelligence. With this kind of processing muscle, a spacecraft doesn't just record data to send back to Earth. It will analyze it locally. Imagine a future rover exploring Mars. Instead of waiting for a human team on Earth to map out a safe 30-foot path of the day, HPSC powered rover can use an onboard camera to build a real-time 3D map of its surrounding, run advanced object classification algorithms, spot its own hazards, and safely drive miles a day completely on its own. Think about autonomous landing sequence. Landing on a body with an atmosphere or an unpredictable surface is often called the 7 minutes of terror. The spacecraft has to fire thrusters, deploy parachutes, and scan the ground for boulders, all in real time. HPSC allows integrated AI algorithms to process high fidelity sensors data instantly, making split second adjustment to land precisely on the target. This opens up a whole new class of missions. We can now confidently send intelligent vehicles into places where real-time human control is literally impossible, like flying automated helicopters through alien atmospheres, traversing dark subterranean caves, or deploying autonomous submarines beneath the icy Jupiter's moon Europa to look for alien life. This isn't just theoretical science or any fiction anymore. Right now, this chip is a reality. It's being put through absolute rigor. At NASA's JPL in California, engineers are conducting rigorous functional test campaigns. They started, back in February, blasting the chip with extreme thermal shocks, violent vibrations to simulate rocket launches, and intense electromagnetic radiation. To kick off the test phase, the teams programmed a tiny symbolic message into the processor. Hello universe, a clever, grander nod to the classic hello world program every software engineer writes. And so far, the chip has passed every single test with flying colors, proving that it functions flawlessly exactly as designed. But NASA and the microchip technology have an even broader vision. Because this architecture is highly flexible, it isn't going to stay confined to deep space. Microchip is planning to adapt the core technology of HPSC processor for high demand mission critical industries right here on Earth. We are talking about next generation commercial aviation autopilot systems, smart energy grid that can dynamically reroute power during natural disasters, advanced medical equipment, automotive manufacturing, and localized industrial AI robotics. It's another classical example of how investing in space technology radically accelerates innovation for everyday life on Earth. Once the testing phase wraps up and the HPSC chip is officially certified as space qualified, NASA plans to weave this hardware into practically everything they launch. It will power next generation Earth orbiting satellites, upcoming planetary rovers, autonomous deep space probes, and even the crewed habitat and life support system for the Artemis astronauts heading back to the moon, eventually onwards to Mars. We are standing on a precipice of a new golden age of exploration. an era where humanity's robotic scouts aren't just remote controlled tools tethered to a sluggish radio wave, but independent, intelligent explorers capable of uncovering mysteries of the cosmos entirely on their own. So, friends, what do you think? Would you trust an AI powered spacecraft to safely land astronauts on Mars without human input? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the future of space tech, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on all the notifications so you never miss another breakthrough that we bring to you. Thanks for watching, and I will see you very soon in the next video, my friends. Before I go, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Hello friends and namaskaram. Could we actually hack Earth's magnetic field to protect our own modern technology? Very profound question. Therefore, in this video, we dive deep into the revolutionary and controversial new proposal from the scientist deploying spacecraft to spray chemicals directly into the Earth's magnetosphere. As our reliance on satellite and power grids and GPS grows, so does our vulnerability to external solar storms. Could a man-made solar shield be the key to preventing a global blackout? Let's discuss this further. Imagine you're living in a world where everything just stops. No GPS to guide your travel, no internet to connect your your PCs, no power grid to keep your lights on. It sounds like the plot of a disaster movie. But it's a very real threat looming 93 million miles away on the surface of the sun. We have spent decades getting better at predicting space weather, acting like people in village watching a river rise, hoping we can warn everyone before the flood hits. But what if we didn't just watch? What if we could actually build a wall to stop the water? Today we're looking at a bold new proposal from scientists, a storm wall designed to actively hack Earth's magnetic field. Can we really engineer our way out of a solar storm, a massive one? To understand why we need a solar shield, we have to understand our current defenses. The magnetosphere. It's a vast invisible bubble around our planet that deflects the sun's charged particles away from Earth. Usually it does a great job, but it is not impenetrable. The danger comes when the sun releases a massive eruption known as the coronal mass ejection or CME. When this cloud of magnetic energy hits Earth, it can trigger a process called magnetic reconnection. Think of it like a shortcut. When the solar magnetic field aligns just right with our own, it rips a hole in the shield. This allows solar energy to flood into our near-Earth space, causing geomagnetic storms. Why should you care about this? Because our modern world is fragile. We have seen these storms fry satellites, disrupt radio signals, and surge power grids with enough voltage to cause massive blackouts. In May 2024, a major storm hit, causing hundreds of millions of dollars in losses for the agriculture industry alone, when the GPS guided tractors could not function. As our tech dependency grows, our vulnerability to these invaders from space only get worse. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's move forward. So how do we fix this issue? A team led by Brian Walsh from Boston University has proposed a concept called storm wall. If you can't make the shield stronger, why not give it an airbag? The idea is to launch a fleet of 6 spacecraft into specific orbits. These ships would carry payloads of alkaline chemicals like barium or lithium, which they could spray into the magnetosphere. When these chemicals are released, the photoionized, they actually become photoionized, creating a cloud of artificial plasma. This plasma would essentially thicken the boundary between us and the solar wind. By adding this mass to the critical frontier of magnetosphere, the storm wall would disrupt the energy flow of incoming storms. It forces the space weather bounce back around around and past our planet instead of punching through. Computer simulation suggests this could reduce the intensity of the geomagnetic storm by more than 50%. It's not about stopping the sun, it's about turning a catastrophic hit into a glancing blow. Now, before we go spraying chemicals into space, we have to talk about the but part of it. And there are several buts here. First, the cost. We are talking about launching 6 spacecrafts, each carrying material equivalent to roughly 12 oil trucks. It's a one and done solution. Once the chemicals are sprayed, the system essentially spends it. It's incredibly expensive, and then there is ethical and environmental questions about geoengineering. While the researchers argue that the risk of contamination is very low, since the plasma gets swept away by the solar wind within about 6 hours, any attempt to hack the planetary system comes with a lot of uncertainty. We have to ask, what are the unintended consequences of messing with our magnetic field? Any project of this scale would require massive international cooperations, oversight, and transparency. Is the storm wall the future of space defenses? Maybe. As we pour money into orbital infrastructure and space-based data centers, the financial math, as the researchers put it, might start to make sense. The reality is that if we build this, it wouldn't just protect our one country or one group of satellites, it would serve as a collective shield for the entire planet. We are becoming a space-faring civilization, which means we have to start acting like one. Whether or not we use space airbags, we have to find better ways to live within the volatile star we orbit. So friends, what do you think? Should we be experimenting with our planet's magnetic field, or is it the risk too high? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching and stay curious. I will catch you again in the next one. Hello friends, what does a 7,000-year-old text have to teach today's high-performing executives? In this video, we break down knowledge obtained from Bhagavad Gita and reveal why modern CEOs are using its timeless wisdom to build inclusive, high-trust corporate culture. Whether you are a startup founder, a corporate executive, or an inspiring manager, this video will change how you look at the modern leadership, employee retention, and organizational growth. Let's go. Think about the last time you heard the phrase psychological safety or radical inclusivity. If you track modern corporate trends, you probably read these terms weekly in Harvard Business Review or hear them being discussed by Silicon Valley founders. We treat these concepts as the cutting edge of the 21st century organizational psychology. But what if I told you that the ultimate blueprint for inclusive leadership wasn't written by a modern HR consultant, but was laid down over 7,000 years ago on a battlefield? Today, an increasing number of global CEOs and top executives are looking past standard management textbook. Instead, they are tuning into ancient wisdom, specifically Bhagavad Gita. They aren't looking at it solely as a religious text, but as a master class in human psychology, crisis management, and leadership. Therefore, in this video, friends, we are diving deep into one specific revolutionary verse, which is mentioned in chapter 9, and the verse is verse 32. We are going to unpack how this ancient verse holds the exact key to solving the modern corporate world's biggest challenges, which are employee retention, diversity, equity, building high performance, high trust culture. So friends, before we move forward, and if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. Let's look directly at the verse in chapter 9, verse 32. Bhagwan Krishna says to Arjun, and the quote starts, "All those who seeks my protection attain the supreme goal, O Parth, irrespective of their gender, caste, or qualities." And quote close. Now, at first glance, a traditional reading focuses on spiritual liberation, that the divine is accessible to everyone equally. But when a modern leader look at this text through the lens of the organizational design, the word protection and the phrase attain the supreme goal takes a powerful corporate parallel. In the ancient times, caste or qualities dictated what a person was allowed to achieve. That was a rigid system. In verse 32, Bhagwan Krishna completely shatters that hierarchy. He democratizes success. He states unambiguously that the path to highest peak is open to every single individual without the exception, provided they are given the right environment of security. For a modern CEO, this isn't just a philosophy. This is a framework for democratizing success within an enterprise. Let's isolate the first core pillar of the verse. All those who seek my protection, and quote close. What does the protection means in 2026 corporate boardroom? It means psychological safety. Harvard Business School professors Amy Edmondson defined the psychological safety as a shared belief that a team is safe for interpersonal risk taking. It means an employee knows they won't be punished, humiliated, or marginalized for speaking up, making a mistake, or offering a radical ideas. When CEO establish a protection or safety at the top, it fundamentally changes the human behavior. Think about it. When your workforce is operating in fear of layoff, fear of toxic managers, fear of biases, their brains are stuck in survival mode. Innovation dies. Diversity becomes a hollow HR matrix rather than a competitive advantage. By taking inspiration from verse 32, a mindful CEO realizes that their primary job is not micromanager or to manage a matrix which is derived from micromanaging, but to build a fortress of trust. When your team feels safe under your leadership, They don't just do their jobs, they strive for what the verse calls and that is the supreme goal, which in a business context means peak performance and self actualization. Let's move to the second part of the verse, and the quote starts, irrespective of their gender, caste, or qualities. Quote close. This is where the Gita becomes radically modern. 7,000 years ago, it explicitly called out bias based on identity and inherent traits. In today's business landscape, we talk a lot about DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion. But let's be honest, many companies treat DEI as a compliance box to tick. Bhagavad Gita challenges leaders to look much deeper. It demands radical meritocracy. When the verse mentions qualities or gunas, it refers to a person's current behavioral tendencies, past mistakes, or perceived limitations. Bhagwan Krishna is saying it does not matter where they started, what their background is, or what errors they have made in the past. If they are aligned with the vision today, they have the capacity to reach the top. As a CEO, how often do we, pigeonhole our employees? How often does a management team decides that someone doesn't have the executive presence or doesn't fit the traditional mold based on the implicit biases? When you lead the principle of verse 32nd in chapter 9, you intentionally break those biases. You actively search for talent in unconventional places. You realize that the brilliant ideas don't care about the elite university pedigree, gender, or social background. You build an ecosystem where the quietest person in the room has exactly the same runway to hit a home run as the loudest person in the same team. So how does a modern leader actually execute chapter 9 verse 32? How do we translate this timeless spiritual law into an operational reality? And I would like to add 3 steps action plan for all the executive. Step 1, redefine the safety. That the first, audit your corporate culture. Do your employee feel protected to fail forward? Celebrate intelligence failure publicly. If an employee takes a calculated risk that doesn't pan out, don't penalize them. Show the organization that your protection is real and watch how fast your innovation cycle accelerate. Number 2, democratize growth and upskill, and therefore look at the promotions, development pipelines. Are opportunities open to everyone or just inner circle? Implement blind skill assessment, open access mentorship program, and structured upskilling. Give everyone, regardless of their starting qualities, the tool to reach the organization's supreme goal. Number 3, lead with purpose, not just profit. And therefore remember that in the verse, the ultimate destination is the supreme goal. In business, employees, especially young generations, don't just work for paychecks anymore. They work for purpose. A CEO's job is to connect daily operational tasks to a higher, meaningful vision. When people know why they are fighting and who they are fighting for, their loyalty becomes unshakable. A challenge of a modern CEOs are complex. Market fluctuate, technology like AI disrupt industries overnight, and consumer behavior shifts constantly. But the fundamental core of the business has never changed. It is entirely driven by human beings. So Bhagavad Gita in chapter 9 verse 32 reminds us that leadership is not about wielding power from a corner office. True leadership is about creating an expansive, inclusive space where every individual feels secure enough to bring their whole authentic self to work. When you democratize success, you don't just build a more ethical company, you build an unstoppable business. So friends, Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining live. If this ancient perspective on the modern leadership resonate with you, hit that like button, share this video with fellow leaders, and subscribe for more deep dives into timeless wisdom for the modern business. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. How do you build your psychological safety in your teams? So friends, until next time, lead with consciousness and keep building. Before I go, few words about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Hello friends. India and Netherlands have officially leveled up their relationship, announcing a massive strategic partnership focused on trade, innovation, and the most importantly, semiconductors. With the Netherlands being home to ASML, the backbone of global chip making, and India rapidly becoming a global tech manufacturing powerhouse, this super alliance is set to rewrite the rules of global supply chain. Therefore, in this video, we break down exactly what this partnership means, why semiconductors are at the heart of it, and how it impacts the global trade, technology, and geopolitics. Let's go. Imagine a world where future of the artificial intelligence, global trade, and the brain power behind the smartphone is entirely reshaped overnight. It's not a sci-fi movie, it's happening right now. We are officially witnessing the birth of a new global tech superpower alliance. In a historic move, India and the Netherlands have dramatically elevated their bilateral relationships into a full-scale strategic partnership, signing a 17 something like 17 major agreements. Now, why does this matter to you or me? Because at the very absolute center of this massive deal is something that entire world is fighting over, and that is semiconductors. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's move forward. The Netherlands is the undisputed gatekeeper of the global chip manufacturing technology. India is the fastest growing technology and manufacturing market on earth. Together, they are creating a powerhouse designed to rewrite the global supply chain, secure critical minerals, and safeguard the future of technology. In this video, we are breaking down exactly what is this super alliance means, why this semiconductor deal is an absolute game changer, and how it impacts the global balance of power. So friends, let's dive in. B role of automated robotic arms handling silicon wafer. Sometimes you see this and you try to imagine this. To understand why this alliance is such a big deal, we have to look at what's under the hood. The semiconductor mega deal. Right now, the world runs on microchips. They are in your car, your phone, your medical equipment, and your military defense systems. But making them is incredibly difficult, and the supply chain is dangerously concentrated. Enter the Netherlands. The Dutch house, a tech juggernaut called ASML, is the only company in the world capable of making the extreme ultraviolet or EUV lithography machines required to print the most advanced microchips on Earth. Without the Dutch tech, the global tech industry effectively grinds to a halt. Enter India now. Under the India Semiconductor Mission, India is investing tens of billions of dollars to become a premier global hub for chip manufacturing, trying to diversify away from traditional East Asia tech hub, and therefore this discussion going on with Netherlands and more specifically with ASML. During the bilateral talk in Hague, a massive milestone was reached. Tata Electronics and ASML officially closed a monumental partnership. ASML cutting edge equipment and expertise are heading straight to India's first major front, and it is going to complement to semiconductor fabrication plant or fab being built in Dholera in Gujarat. As the leaders noted, this means the chips will literally be built in India utilizing world-class Dutch machinery. This isn't just a simple buyer-seller agreement. The two nations are formally linked. The Dutch Semicon Competence Center directly to Indian Semiconductor Mission. They are building an entire ecosystem of suppliers, startups, and tech development. But you can't run multi-billion dollar chip fab with machines alone. You need human capital as well. You need genius level talent. And that brings us to what they are calling the brain bridge. One of the most exciting aspects of this 5-year strategic roadmap is the academic and research alliance. The Eindhoven University of Technology and the University of Twente in Netherlands have signed a comprehensive memorandum of cooperation with 6 of India's absolute elite engineering institutions. The Indian Brain Bridge institutions are the IISc, which is in Bangalore, IIT Mumbai or IIT Bombay, IIT Delhi, IIT Gandhinagar, IIT Guwahati, IIT Madras. This network isn't just purely academics, it is heavily backed by real world technology and giants like NXP, ASML, Tata's, and CG Semi. And therefore, this is a very big deal. At exactly the same time, they have signed a massive mobility and migration cooperation pact as well. What does this mean in plain English? It means significantly easier visa norms, smoother talent pipelines, and expanded long-term partnership and work opportunities for Indian students and tech professionals in the Netherlands. The Dutch get direct access to India's unparalleled pool of software engineers and innovators, and India gets direct hands-on training with the most sophisticated hardware technology on the planet Earth. It's a flawless win-win. While the microchips are grabbing all the headlines, this new strategic alliance actually covers 17 different agreements designed to completely bind these two economies together. Let's look at the major pillar of this deal. First is the critical minerals. You can't build advanced electronics or electrical vehicle batteries without rare earth elements. The two nations have agreed to secure and build a resilient supply chain for critical minerals spanning from exploring to value chain integration. Number 2 is the green hydrogen roadmap. The Netherlands is a world leader in clean energy transition, and India wants to be the world's biggest exporter of the green hydrogen. This roadmap opens up a huge door for India to export clean energy directly into Europe. Number three is the defense industry roadmap. In a world riddled with geopolitical uncertainties and security is top of the mind, India and the Netherlands are designing a framework for the joint manufacturing of defense equipment, components, and direct technology transfer. There are even exploring a mutual logistic support agreement for their military forces. On top of all that, they have implemented a custom mutual administrative assistant agreement to streamline the trade and their all aspects of whatever we have discussed so far. Remember, bilateral trade between these two already sit at a massive $27.8 billion. The Netherlands is India's fourth largest investor, and the port of Rotterdam serves as India's primary strategic gateway into entire European market. This pact essentially supercharged that gateway. Now we have to look at the bigger picture. Why is the alliance happening right now? The reality is that the global geopolitics are shifting fast. During their high level talks, the leadership of both nations spent a significant amount of time addressing global pain points. They expressed deep concerns over ongoing instability in West Asia and Ukraine, which have continuously threatened the global energy supplies and trade routes. Both nations took a hard, unified stance on the Strait of Hormuz, jointly demanding absolute freedom of navigation and the unhindered flow of global commerce, while explicitly opposing any restrictive maritime measures. By coming together, India and Netherlands are purposefully insulating themselves from the global shocks. Western nations are actively seeking trusted democratic partners to diversify their tech dependencies away from single source manufacturing countries. This alliance positions India as Europe's ultimate trusted partner for hardware while ensuring that Netherlands maintains a dominant foothold in booming South Asia market. As the leadership highlighted during this historic summit, this represents a new golden era for India-Europe relationship. It marries the incredible speed and skill of India's economic growth with the world-class innovation and tech expertise of Netherlands. The roadmap of 2026 to 2030 is locked in. The factories are being built, the universities are collaborating, and the microchips are about to flow. The tech landscape is evolving, and this super alliance is driving the change. But now I want to hear from you. What do you think about this partnership? Will this formally establish India as next global semiconductor superpower? How do you think this impact the global balance of tech power? Drop in your thoughts in the comments below, and if you find this breakdown valuable, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notifications so you never miss another deep dive into the technology reshaping our world. So friends, thanks for watching, and I will see you again in the next one. Before I go, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
In the hollowed halls of Vedic debates, where sages wrestle with the mysteries of existence, one voice arose with fearless clarity, a woman's voice. Gargi, Vachak Navi, and Brahmavadini of Upanishads did not merely join the discourse. She challenged it, questioning the very fabric of reality and daring to ask what lies beyond space, beyond time, and beyond known. She established gender equality. For her, the presence in the Upanishadic assemblies demonstrated the wisdom was not confined to men, but accessible to all seekers. Her courage was not conquest of land, but conquest of thoughts. A victory that will still reverberates in 2026, reminding us that the pursuit of truth is not the greatest empire of all. So let's find out more about this. Gagi Vachak Navi, the fearless philosopher of the Vedic age, stands as one of the earliest recorded women intellectual in history. Her presence in the Brahmavadic Upanishad and is definitely monumental. She remembered as for engaging in profound debates with Yajna Valkya, one of the greatest sage of her time. Gagi's achievement was not merely her participation in philosophical discourse. It was her audacity to question very nature of existence, matter, and infinite at a time when the women's voice were really given a space in public intellectual life. Her most famous inquiry with Yajna Valkya on what is the world woven, wrap, and woof. She actually pressed further until she reached the ultimate questions of what sustained the universe beyond space and time. This relentless pursuit of truth established her as a philosopher of metaphysics, one who dared to probe the mysteries of Brahman, the eternal principle underlying all reality. Gagi's contribution was not only intellectual but symbolic. She embodied the spirit of inquiry, courage, and equality. So if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you are tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us to determine the reach of our channel. So moving forward, in 2026, Gagi's legacy reverberates in multiple ways. A woman across the world continues to break the barrier in science, technology, and leadership. Gagi's example reminds us that the intellectual courage knows no gender. She insists on questioning the infinite mirror, which actually mirrors today's exploration in quantum physics, cosmology, and artificial intelligence, where the humanity seeks to understand what lies beyond observable matters. Gagi's voice beyond a timeless call to challenge the boundaries, to ask questions that unsettle, and to embrace inquiries as the highest drama. Beyond her celebrated debate, Gagi's achievement includes philosophical authority, as she was recognized as Brahmavadini, a woman who had mastered the Veda and philosophy. Her role in education is also profound. Gagi is said to have taught and inspired others, proving that women are integral part to intellectual fabric of ancient India. She established gender equality. Her presence in Upanishadic assemblies demonstrated the wisdom was not confined to men but accessible to all seekers. And culturally and historically, Gagi became the symbol of fearless inquiry. Her name invoked in later tradition as exemplar of women's intellectual and power. Her impact in 2026 is profound. In an era striving for inclusivity, Gagi's life reminds us that the root of equality and intellectual freedom run deep in Indian civilization. She challenged modern society to ensure that women's voices are not only heard but celebrated in every sphere, from philosophy to politics, from science to spirituality. Thus, Gargi Vachak Navi's achievement is twofold. She expanded the horizon of metaphysical thoughts and she shattered the barriers of gender in intellectual discourse. In 2026, her legacy inspires us to keep questioning, to embrace the diversity of thought, and to recognize that the pursuit of truth is the greatest achievement of all. Gagi Vachak Navi's voice, rising from the sacred assemblies of Upanishads, continue to echo across the centuries as the beacon of fearless inquiry. Her achievement was not only in questioning Yajan Valkya, but infinite, and in proving that is definitely infinite in proving the wisdom, and wisdom has no boundaries, and her achievement also actually declaring that gender or tradition, there you can actually it's not confined to gender and tradition. So in 2026, her legacy stands as a mirror to our own age, an era where women lead in science, technology, philosophy, carrying forward the same spirit of audacity that Gagi embodied. She reminds us that the true empire is not built on conquest of or power, but on the courage to ask, to challenge, and to seek the eternal truth. Gagi's triumph lies in her refusal to be silent, her insistence that the infinite must be questioned, her gift of showing humanity that the pursuit of knowledge is itself is the highest drama. So her voice endures and urges us to keep questioning, keep seeking, and keep breaking boundaries, because the unconquerable achievement is not in answers but in the eternal quest itself. So we have come to the end of this video. Thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe our channel, and see you in the next one.
Hello friends and namaskaram. In a landmark deal that reshapes the global AI landscape, Meta has officially partnered with Reliance Industries to build its first ever AI-enabled data centers in India. Located in Jamnagar, Gujarat, this 168 megawatt facility is more than just infrastructure. It is a clear signal that India is rapidly becoming the backbone of the next generation of artificial intelligence. Let us explore this further. Hello everyone, my name is CK and welcome back to Akulmach Business. If you have been following the global tech landscape, you know the narrative has shifted. For years, the story of artificial intelligence was written almost exclusively in Silicon Valley. But today, the center of gravity is moving. Just day before yesterday, on June 10th, 2026, we saw a watershed movement. Meta has officially announced its first build-to-suit AI data center in India, located in Jamnagar, Gujarat, in partnership with Reliance Industries. We are talking about massive 168 megawatt facility that will eventually power some of the most advanced AI workloads on this planet. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. All right. But why India? Why is a global giant like Meta pouring such massive capital into our backyard? Today, we are going to peel back the layers of this strategy. This isn't just about servers, it's about the intelligence era. Let's look at the logistics. Why Jamnagar? Reliance isn't building a warehouse, because usually all the big business of Reliance, which are bulk in nature, are all located in Jamnagar. So they are building a hyperscale campus. This facility isn't just powered by the grid, it is designed for sustainability using renewable energy and desalinated seawater for cooling. Meta is covering the cost to ensure this just isn't just big, it is efficient. And look at the geography. Jamnagar sits right next to the key undersea cable landing station. Meta is connecting this facility to Project Waterworth, the world's longest subsea cable system. This allows them to tie India's digital infrastructure directly to their global nervous system. For Meta, India isn't just a market of 1.4 billion people anymore. It is becoming a compute hub. They are betting that India's infrastructure can handle the most complex AI reasoning models, and they are backing it with over a gigawatt of renewable energy agreement with partners like CleanMax. Think back to 2016. The conversation in India was about the cost of the data. We led a revolution that made the internet accessible for everyone. Mukesh Ambani said recently, India cannot afford to rent intelligence. Therefore, we will have to reduce the cost of intelligence as dramatically as we did with the cost of data. And that is the mission. Meta's partnership with Reliance and their joint venture in artificial intelligence is aimed at democratizing high-end AI tools. And what is that we are talking about here? We're talking about starting with business agents, automating customer services across WhatsApp, Messenger, Instagram for millions of small businesses. Number two, creator assistant, giving the massive Indian creator economy the tools to analyze performance and generate content in real time. Meta is betting that if they provide the tool for intelligence, the Indian market will build the solution on top of it. So why are they doing this now? Because the data is undeniably very important. A recent BCG report shows that India leads the world in workplace AI adoption. 97% of the Indian managers are using AI regularly. We aren't just consumers of technology, we are at its most enthusiastic implementers. When you combine our demography dividend, our massive technical talent pool, and now this world class infrastructure that Meta and Reliance are laying down, you got an ecosystem that is perfectly primed for a particular scaling. A global giant realized that if they want to win in AI, they don't just need to sell to India, they need to build in India. So what does this mean for people like you and me, for the developers, for the business owners, and for the students watching this channel? It means the barriers to entry for AI innovation is collapsing. With the level of infrastructure, India is transitioning from service provider to global hub for AI driven transformation. We are no longer just outsourcing work, we are insourcing the intelligence revolution. As we see these data centers come online over the next 2 years, keep a close eye on the applications being built here. We are entering an era where your local business, your education system, your career will be powered by compute capacity that was previously unimaginable. So friends, once again, my name is CK and this is Akulmach Business. If you found this deep dive valuable, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments, do you think India will become the #1 global destination for AI development by 2030? Let us discuss it more and I await your messages and opinions. See you in the next one. Hello friends and namaskar. Is your business strategy built on a foundation of sand? Like a sand castle? I'm sure everybody gets this kind of a feeling and there are no straightforward answers. Therefore, in this video, we dive into a powerful and sobering lessons from Bhagavad Gita and apply its ancient wisdom to the high-stake world of modern leadership. Many CEOs and entrepreneurs fall into the trap of hollow hustle, achieving massive metrics, scaling operations, and they acquire vast knowledge only to find that their efforts feel empty or ultimately fail. Let's go forward and discuss this further. We've all seen it. The CEOs who have everything, the corner office, the soaring stock price, a strategy that looks flawless on a PowerPoint deck. They are brilliant, driven, and possess a wealth of technical knowledge, technical know-how. But then it happens. Despite the perfect plans, the culture rot from within. The strategy lead to a moral or financial dead end. The growth wasn't sustainable because it wasn't grounded in anything real. In the corporate world, we call this a strategic failure. But 7,000 years ago, the Bhagavad Gita called it something else. It called it a spell. Today we are looking at chapter 9, verse 12 of Gita. This isn't just a religious text, it's a psychological mirror for every leader who has ever wondered why their hard work felt like total waste. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. Let's look at the verse and the quote starts. They came under the spell of the material energy, embracing demonic and atheistic belief. Alas, all their hopes for liberation, their fruitive actions, and their knowledge are a total waste. Quote close. To a modern CEO, words like demonic or spell might sound out of place, but let's translate them into business language and let's give it a business context. The spell is what we call a confirmation bias or a corporate myopia. It is when you are mesmerized by a short-term metrics and material energy, which is the profit, the clout, and the vanity metrics that you lose, and therefore you lose sight of reality. Demonic and atheistic beliefs in a business context isn't about theology. It's the belief that you are the sole creator of your success, that ethics are hurdle to be cleared, and that people are just resources to be used. So Bhagavad Gita warns that when a leader operates from this place, three specific things become a total waste. Every CEO, every CEO has a hope for liberation. In business, this is your exit strategy. It's the IPO, the acquisition, the freedom you think you will find once you hit a certain valuation. But verse 12 says these hopes are waste if they are built on demonic foundation. Why? Because if your strategy is driven by ego rather than purpose, you never actually become free. You become a slave to the next quarter, the next competitor, and the next ego-driven goal. You aren't leading a company. You are running a treadmill that has no off switch. Next, Gita mentions fruitive action. This is the heart of every business, the execution. the marketing campaign, the R&D, and the pivots. We have seen CEOs execute brilliant fruitive actions that lead to disasters. Think of massive corporate scandals of the last decade. Those leaders were smart. Their actions produce fruits, which is, in other words, money. And therefore, this is all short terms. But because those actions embrace atheistic belief, meaning they ignored the universal laws of integrity and service, the fruits was poisonous. The result? Total waste, lawsuits, bankruptcy, and destroyed reputation. This is the most painful part for a leader. The Gita says your knowledge is a total waste. You might have an MBA from Harvard. You might know every trend in the AI and fintech, but if that knowledge is used merely to serve the material spell, to manipulate market or exploit people, it becomes completely useless. True knowledge, according to Gita, should lead to, sort of realized wisdom. Without a moral compass, your data and your insights are just tools for your own downfall. So, how does a CEO avoid the dead end? The solution isn't stop being ambitious, it's to change the source of your ambition. Break the spell. There are few things, starting with breaking the spell. Audit your motivations. Are you doing this for the material energy, which is ego/status, or for the dharma, which is purpose and duty? So you must ask this question. Second, reject the demonic models. Stop seeing your business as a machine and start seeing it as an ecosystem that must add value to the world. Third, validate your knowledge. You must ensure your strategy passes the integrity test. If your plan requires you to abandon your value to succeed, the Gita tells you right now it will be a total waste. Lead with purpose and your actions will finally bear fruit that lasts longer. So friends, what do you think about this? Thanks for watching. If this ancient perspective or on the modern leadership resonate with you, hit the subscribe button, share this video with leaders who need to hear this. And I will take your leave today, only to catch you again in the next one. Before I go, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
Hello, friends. In a world where the kings ruled by bloodline, one Indian dynasty did the unthinkable. They bypass their own sons to hand over the power to their sisters' children. Discover how the formidable matriarchal queens of Travancore rewrote the laws of power. This is the story of how female-led sovereignty built a progressive empire. So let's find out more about this. So in the lush southern reaches of India, where the coconut trees and coconut palms sway and the temple bells echo across the backwaters, there once flourished a kingdom unlike any other, the kingdom of Travancore. Its rulers were not merely kings but queens, women who wielded authority with a quiet yet formidable grace. The matrilineal system of succession, unique to Kerala's Naya community, ensured the power flowed through the female line. And in this system, the sisters were actually given the power, the sister of the king, and the matrilineal system of succession actually flourished. So the power flowed through the female line, and in this system, the sisters of kings were the true anchors of the dynasty continuity, and their son inherited the throne. Thus, the queen of Travancore were not ornamental figures, but the very custodian of legitimacy, the last monarch of the fading order. Let me just now introduce you to the Rani Gauri Lakshmi Bai, the only female monarch to rule Travancore in her own rights rather than a regent. She abolished the system of slavery in the state and introduced the modern judicial reform. The queens of Travancore embodied a paradox. They were secluded within the palaces and shielded from the public gaze, yet their influence permeated every decision of the court. So their authority was subtle, often invisible to outsider, but it was decisive. They were the keepers of tradition, the guardian of lineage, and the silent arbiter of succession. In the world where the patriarchal structure dominated, Travancore's matriarchs stood as a living reminder that power could be feminine, veiled, and yet absolute. So once again, let me again tell you about Rani Gauri Parvati Bai, who issued the historical royal rescript of 1817 and introducing free universal primary education funded by state. So laying the foundation for Kerala's leading literacy rate today. So their strength lay not in overt display of command, but in a quiet orchestration of dynastic politics. The queens determined who would ascend the throne, and their approval was indispensable. And for that is also because that creates the legitimacy for the king. So they were a custodian of a royal household, ensuring the rituals, the alliances, and the inheritance aligned with the sacred order. So in their hands rested the delicate balance between continuity and the change, between the sacred and the temporal. So Maharani Setu Lakshmi Bai, though she was regent rule from 1924 to 1931, but did remarkable changes in inheritance, social justice, and she abolished the Devdasi system and animal sacrifice in the temples. granted women voting rights, promoted rural self-governance via panchayat, and signed the Nayar Regulation Act in 1925, which modernized the land ownership and began the little transition away from the matrilineal laws. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you are watching this video, and this will help us to determine the reach of our channel. So now let's continue with this topic. The matrilineal system also gave these queen a rare autonomy. Unlike many royal women across the subcontinent, they were not defined by their husband, but by their lineage. Their identity was rooted in their maternal role. Their sons carried forward the royal bloodlines, and this inversion of patriarchal norms granted them a quiet but very deep authority. And they were the womb of sovereignty, the vessel through which the kingship itself was transmitted. Yet, their power was cloaked in secrecy. The queen rarely appeared in public, and their influence was exercised through councils and rituals and the invisible thread of kinship. So they were the unseen architect of Travancore stability, ensuring that the kingdom endured through the centuries of a kind of confusion which is created by colonial encounters, wars, and shifted their alliances. So their presence was felt in the resilience of dynasty, and in the continuity of their tradition, and in the enduring sanctity of its temple. Now let me just tell you about Maharani Setu Parvati Bai, a major force behind the reign of her son Chitra Turunal and Balaram Varma. She championed the famous temple treaty proclaimed of 1936, opening state temples to all Hindus regardless of their caste. So the Queen of Travancore reminds us that the history is not only shaped by those who sit on the throne, but also by those who guard them from behind the veil. So their legacy is one of the silent strength of power exercised without any spectacle, of authority rooted in the tradition and maternal continuity. They were the last matriarchal of the system that defied the patriarchal norms, a testament to the secret power of women in shaping dynasties and destinies. Today, as we look back at their story, we see more than a royal figures. We see a symbol of resilience, a guardian of heritage, an embodiment of power that was both sacred and maternal. The Queen of Travancore were not merely consort or mothers. They were the invisible sovereigns and the secret architect of kingdom's dynasty. Their story is a reminder that the true power often lies not in the visibility, but in quiet endurance of tradition, in the unseen hands that shape the course of history. Though ironically, the very queen who represented the principle of matrilineal administrative power, Maharani Setu Lakshmi Bai, governed during its eventual transition as a 20th century socio-economic shift and the legal dispute, the reform movement actually reshaped Kerala's society. The royal family signed a law allowing individual partition of matrilineal joint property. So by the time Travancore merged into Indian Union in 1949, the old matrilineal system had largely given way to modern civil laws, marking the end of one of the history's most sustained system of female political authority. So, what do you think about this story? And would you like to add a few comments on this beautiful sovereign system? So, we have come to the end. Please like and subscribe our channel. And as usual, we look forward for your comments on this topic. See you in the next one. Till then, bye. Take care.
नमस्कार दोस्तों, अब हम देवी जी का पूजा करेंगे। रेसाइटेशन एक छोटा सा मंत्र है, 11 दफा करेंगे। हर रोज की तरह अपना दिन शुरू करेंगे, प्रारंभ करेंगे भगवान की स्तुति करके। तो हाथ जोड़ लीजिए, नमन कर लीजिए मेरे साथ और 11 दफा इस मंत्र का हम उच्चारण करेंगे। ओम श्री ह्रीं क्लीं श्री सिद्ध लक्ष्मी नमः। 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 ओम ह्रीं श्रीं क्लीं श्री सिद्ध लक्ष्मी नमः। ओम श्री ह्रीं क्लीं श्री सिद्ध लक्ष्मी नमः। तो हमारी स्तुति समाप्त हुई। आपका दिल मंगलमय हो, इसी कामना के साथ इस वीडियो को अब यहीं समाप्त करते हैं। हेलो दोस्तों, नमस्कारम। आप सबका स्वागत है। आज बृहस्पतिवार का दिन है, 25 जून यानी कि थर्सडे है। तो आज का दिन तो भगवान विष्णु के लिए समर्पित है। तो हम अपना दिन शुरू करेंगे भगवान विष्णु की स्तुति करके, पूजा करके। और हर रोज की तरह हमने अपना काउंटर लिया हुआ है। तो आप भी अपनी माला लेके या काउंटर लेके हमारे साथ जुड़ें और हमारे साथ ही इस मंत्र का उच्चारण करें। 11 दफा करेंगे। ये देखिए काउंटर है मेरे पास। तो चलिए शुरू करते हैं। हाथ जोड़ लीजिए और भगवान विष्णु का नमन करिए। ओम नमो वासुदेवाय नमः। 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 तो हमारा आज की पूजा समाप्त हुई। बहुत सिंपल था, आपने देखा, बहुत छोटा सा मंत्र था। 11 दफा करें। अपना बिजनेस या अपनी स्टडी स्टार्ट करने से पहले अगर आप 11 दफा इस मंत्र का जाप करेंगे तो आपको काफी, आपका दिन शुभ रहेगा। तो चलिए हम अपना दिन स्टार्ट करते हैं। आपका भी दिन शुभ रहे और मंगलमय रहे, इसी कामना के साथ इस वीडियो को हम समाप्त करते हैं। लेकिन जल्दी ही मिलते हैं दूसरे वीडियो में, कहीं मत जाइएगा। Hello friends, Namaskaram, you're most welcome. Your resume is officially a relic of the past. As of today, July 14, 2026, the world's top corporation has stopped looking at where you went to school and started measuring how your brain processes chaos in real time. You aren't now applying for a job anymore. You're entering a high stakes simulation where every click is a data point. So, in this situation, what you should do to get a job? Let's explore this further. Tell me about a time you overcame a challenge. If you have applied for a job in the last decade, you know that question. You have rehearsed that answer. You have polished it. You have delivered it to a panel of people who are trying to read your body language while you are trying to hide the fact that your palms are sweating. But what if I told you that the day of that you know performative, scripted, anxiety inducing interview are fading? Welcome to 2026. If you are currently on the job hunt, you might have noticed something strange. You applied for a position, and instead of getting a request for a Zoom call, you got a link to an interactive simulation, which is a game. Today, we are talking about why your next job interview will be a video game. And more importantly, why the old rules, the ones you have been following since 2010 or even before, might just result in a game over screen before you even get to meet a human being. Let's be honest, the traditional interview is fundamentally broken. It relies on two flawed metrics: the resume, which is basically a marketing brochure, and the interview, which is a test of who is the best at acting. Companies have realized what a well written resume doesn't mean you can solve the problem. It just means you know how to write a resume. And a charismatic interview doesn't mean you have leadership skill. It just means you are good at chatting. For years, the HR department have been looking for an objective way to assess candidate. They wanted to strip away the biases, the unconscious preferences for people who went to the same school or talk the same way or share the same hobbies. They wanted data. They found it in the one place they didn't expect, which is the video game industry. So, what does a gamified interview actually look like in 2026? It is not a Super Mario. You're not jumping over the barrels. You're stepping onto the digital environment, a simulation of the roles you're applying for. Imagine you're applying for a project manager role. Instead of saying, I am good at prioritizing, the game put you in a room. You have three projects with conflicting deadlines, a budget deficit, and a team member who's underperforming. The clock is ticking, the AI is watching. It is not measuring if you win the game, it is measuring how you play. It's tracking your reaction time to the stressors. It is mapping your decision making patterns. It is analyzing whether you prioritize the budget, the team's morale, or the long term strategic goal. You aren't answering a question, you are demonstrating your competency in real time. For the employer, this is a gold mine. They aren't getting your story, they are getting your behavioral data. They can see how you handle the pressure when the screen starts flashing red. They can see how you communicate when the AI avatars challenge your authority. It's an efficient, it is scalable, and for the candidate who know how to play, it's actually kind of fun. But here is where the game is over and the warning comes in. This isn't just about the simulation, it's about the massive AI architecture that sits behind the curtain. In 2026, many companies are using what I call the cultural fit algorithm. When you play these gamified assessment, you aren't just sending data to a recruiter. You are actually feeding a massive neural network driven predictive model. This model has analyzed thousands of top performing employees at that company. It knows the DNA of their success. When you interact with the simulation, the AI is comparing your DNA, your decision making style, your adaptability, your risk tolerance against their high performers. If the algorithm determines you are a 40% match, you might be auto rejected. No human ever see your face, no human ever read your cover letter. This sounds harsh, I know, but it is the reality of high volume hiring world in 2026. The algorithm is the gatekeeper and the gatekeeper has no patience for ambiguity. I know it sounds something out of a dystopian science fiction movie, but take a deep breath. There is a massive upside to this shift. Think about the traditional hiring process. You have to hope that the recruiter is in a good mood. You have to hope that they don't have a bias against your university, your accent, or your background. Gamification and AI assessment actually strip a lot of that away. The algorithm doesn't care about the pedigree. It doesn't care about the name on your degree. It cares about your output. It cares about your potential. If you are a talented person who didn't go to an Ivy League school or who has a non traditional background, these games are the best friends. They are a skill first equalizer. You have a chance to prove you can do the work regardless of who you are, where you came from. The interview of 2026 is becoming a meritocracy. You just have to learn how to play the game. So, how do you prepare for an interview that feels like a video game? Stop rehearsing answers. Start training skills. Don't memorize script. You need to sharpen your decision making and your emotional intelligence. Practice high pressure scenarios. Understand the why. If the game presents a crisis, don't just react. Think about the values the company is looking for. Are they a fast paced risk taker culture or a collaborative risk averse culture? The game will likely lean towards one of those. Don't panic at the failure state. In many of these simulations, there is no perfect score. The game might intentionally throw a disaster at you to see if you crumble. If things go wrong in simulation, don't shut down. The algorithm is looking for resilience. How you recover from bad movie, um, bad project is often more important than the move itself. The job market is changing. The rules are being rewritten by AI, by data, and by the gamification of your work lives. It can be intimidating, but it's also an opportunity. It means the resume black hole is finally being replaced by a direct assessment of your potential. Your next interview might be a video game, but remember, every game has a tutorial, and now you know what to look for. Stay adaptable, keep your head in the game, get ready to level up your career. Friends, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to send it across. And I will see you in the next or the next level, next stage, or next level, or the next one. Bye for now.
On a planet where silence resigned and the dust storm sculpted the horizon, a robotic explorer has uncovered whispers of possibilities. NASA's Curiosity rover has detected 7 distinct organic molecules, the richest chemical treasure yet found on Mars. Each molecule is a clue, a fragment of story billions of years old, hinting that Red Planet may once have been more than a barren rock. In Gale craters, ancient soil, chemistry speaks, and the echoes sound strikingly like a prelude of life. So let's find out more about this. The Red Planet has always carried with its aura of mystery. A silent world that seems both familiar and alien. For decades, scientists have asked whether Mars once harbored life and whether its barren rocks conceal traces of more vibrant past. Now, the Curiosity rover has delivered a discovery that pushes its questions into sharper focus. The detection of 7 new organic molecules, the most diverse collection yet found on Mars. Organic molecules are the building block of life as we know it. They are not the proof of life in themselves, but they are the chemical kind of hand holding upon which biology is built. The fact that curiosity has uncovered such a varied suite of organic suggests that Mars was once far more a chemical rich environment than previously imagined. Each molecule carries with it a whisper of possibilities, a hint that Mars may have been habitable in its distant past. So, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you are tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us to determine the reach. And moving forward on this interesting topic, so the rover's instruments, particularly sample analysis at Mars, SAM, suit have been strikingly actually collecting the data, and it also actually painstakingly analyzing soil and rock sample from Gale crater. This ancient basin carved by water millions of years ago has been considered one of the most promising sites for uncovering the signs of habitability. The detection of these molecules ranging from simple carbon chain to more complex structures adds weight to the idea that Mars once had the right ingredient of life. So, isn't it interesting? So, what makes this discovery remarkable is not just the presence of organics, but their diversity. Previous mission had hinted at organic compound, but often in a limited or degraded form. Now, with the 7 distinct molecules identified, scientists can begin a piece together and a more complete picture of Mars' chemical history. It suggests that planet's surface and subsurface may have hosted a dynamic chemistry influenced by water, volcanic activities, and perhaps even biological processes. The implication ripples outward. So, if Mars could sustain such chemistry, then the boundary between lifeless rocks and living system becomes thinner. It raises the possibility that microbial life could have emerged, thrived, and perhaps even persisted in hidden niche. It also strengthened the case for the future mission, such as the Mars samples return project to bring these material back to Earth for a deeper analysis. So, beyond the scientific excitement, there is a philosophical resonance. Humanity has long looked to Mars as a mirror, a world that reflects our own questions about existence. The discovery of a diverse organic does not answer the question of life, but it sharpens it actually. So if it also tells us that Mars was not sterilized, or it is not something very distinct and without any, it's a barren land. It tells us that the Mars actually a planet of potential, a world where the chemistry of life was least possible. So as curiosity continues, it slow tracked across Gale crater, and each drill, sample, and each analysis adds another brushstroke to the canvas of Martian history. The rover, a lone emissary of human curiosity, is revealing that Mars is not just a cold desert, but a planet with a story, one that may intersect with our own. So, in the end, the detection of 7 organic molecules is more than a scientific milestone. It is a reminder that the universe is filled with possibilities. And even in the silence of distinct world, the echoes of life's potential can be found. So Mars may yet prove to be chapter in the grand narratives of biology, a testament to resilience of chemistry and the universality of life's ingredients. So finally, we have come to the end of this video. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe our channel, and we will see you in the next one. But before we end, few words from our affiliate partner.
Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters, and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. Hello friends, the United Arab Emirates bombshell the announcement to exit the OPEC and OPEC Plus effective May 1st, 2026. And this has sent shockwave through the global energy markets. This historic move marks the end of nearly 60 years of membership and signals a massive shift in the geopolitical landscape of the Middle East. In this video, we dive deep into why the UAE is walking away, the rising tension with Saudi Arabia, and how this decision, combined with ongoing Strait of Hormuz crisis, could redefine the oil prices forever. Let's go. Today, the global energy landscape didn't just shift, it has actually fractured. In a bombshell announcement that has sent shockwaves from Wall Street to Riyadh, the UAE, United Arab Emirates, has officially declared its exit from OPEC and OPEC Plus alliance effective May 1st, 2026. This isn't just a policy change, it's a geopolitical earthquake. For nearly 60 years, the UAE has been the cornerstone of the world's most powerful oil cartel. But as of this morning, Abu Dhabi is walking away, leaving the Saudi-led organization in what many are calling its biggest crisis since 1970. Why now? What does this mean for your gas prices? And is this the beginning of the end of OPEC? Today we are breaking down the UAE declaration of independence and the massive blow it deals to the global oil order. If you've reached this far, friends, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you're watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Now moving on, to understand why this is happening, we have to look at the growing tension between UAE and the cartel, which is de facto leader Saudi Arabia. For years, the UAE has been frustrated. They have invested billions into expanding their production capacity, aiming for 5 million barrels per day by 2027. But under OPEC's strict quota system, they have been forced to keep much of that oil in the ground. The UAE message is clear. We have the oil, we have the tech, we want to sell it. The official statement from the Emirates news agency emphasizes a strategic and economic recalibration. Essentially, the UAE believes their national interest, which is monetizing their reserves, while demand is very high at this point in time. So they want to make sure that they monetize well in time. No longer, align with the production cuts demanded by the rest of the group. By leaving UAE is better on by itself, they are trading the security of the cartel for flexibility because of the free market and other pressures, right? We cannot ignore the elephant in the room, and that is the timing. This exit comes in the midst of massive regional energy shock. With the ongoing conflict involving Iran and the non-closure of almost total closure of the Strait of Hormuz, the global supply chain is already under immense pressure. OPEC production fell by staggering 27% in March alone. Some experts like Michael Brown of Pepperstone argue that while the UAE wants to pump more, actually shipping that product through the blockade, through the strait, is nearly impossible right now. This makes the exit even more of a strategic pivot. The UAE is positioning itself as a reliable, independent alternative to the cartels precisely when the world is desperate for stability. By breaking away now, they distance themselves from the collective political baggages of OPEC while the US and Israel navigate the escalating situations with Iran. This is a massive blow to Saudi-led dominance. For decades, OPEC has moved as one, with Riyadh pulling the strings, but with Qatar leaving in 2019 and now the UAE, the third largest producer in the group, following suit, the Saudi-led moniker is losing its weight. So, is this is going to be sustainable? Is there a price war on the horizon? History says maybe. When OPEC members disagree on quotas, we often see a race to the bottom, where countries flood the market with cheap oil to grab market share. If the UAE starts pumping its full 5 million barrel capacity once the regional conflict subsides, it could put immense downward pressure on the global prices. Something Saudi Arabia, which needs high price to fund its Vision 2030 projects, desperately wants to avoid. So what does this mean for you and me, rest of the people in the world? In the short term, volatility. Market hate uncertainty, and the exit of a major player like UAE creates a massive vacuum. Crude oil futures are already jumping as traders try to price in a world without unified OPEC. However, in the long run, this could lead to more competitive pricing. Without OPEC quotas holding them back, the UAE is free to be a swing producer, offering their cost competitive lower carbon barrels to the highest bidder. If other members see the UAE succeeding outside the cartel, we could see a domino effect where Kuwait or Iraq start questioning their own membership. The OPEC crack isn't just a headline, it is the possible start of a decentralized energy market. The UAE exit effective May 1st is the gamble of the historic proportions. They are betting that the future of energy belongs to the flexible and independent, not collective. As the sun set on nearly 60 years of UAE OPEC cooperation, a new era of energy geopolitics begins now. So, is OPEC dead? Very big question, right? Or will Saudi Arabia find a way to rein in the remaining members? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Does this mean cheaper gas or more global instability? In either cases, I would like to know what are your thoughts. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification. We'll be tracking the market reaction and the situation in the Strait of Hormuz every day as the story develops. Thanks for watching, thanks for joining live, and I will catch you again in the next one. Before I part ways today, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with two microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video. चरण सरोज रज निजमन मुकुर सुधार बरनौ रघुवर बिमल जसु जो दायक फलचार बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमरो पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहे हरेउ कलेश विकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान कुंज सागर जय कपीस तेहु लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बलदामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमत के संगी कंचन वरन विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साजे शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिवे को आतुर प्रभु चरित सुनवे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया। सूक्ष्म रूप धरी सिंह दिखावा विकट रूप धरी लंग जरावा भीम रूप धरी असुर सहारे रामचंद्र जी के काज सवारे लाए सजीवन लखन जी आए श्री रघुबीर हर्ष उर लाए रघुपत कीनी बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरत संभाई सहस बदन तुमरो यश गावे अस कही श्रीपति कंठ लगावे सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा जम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाँ थे कवि कोविद कही सके कहा थे तुम उपकार सुग्रीव ही कीना राम मिलाए राजपद दीना तुमरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश सर्वे सब जग जाना जुग सहस्त्र जोजन पर भानु लीलियो ताही मधुर फल जानो प्रभु मुद्रिका मेल मुख माही जलधि लांगे अचरज नाही दुर्गम का जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हरे तेते राम द्वारे तुम रखवाले होत न आज्ञा बिन पैसारे सब सुख लहे तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन ते समारो आपे तीनों लोग हाँकते कापे भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे महावीर जब नाम सुनावे नासे रोग हरे सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे मन क्रम भजन ध्यान जो लावे सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा तिनके का सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लाए सोई अविद जीवन फल पाए चारों जुग प्रताप तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्धि जगत उजियारा साधु संत के तुम रखवाले असुर निकंदन राम दुआरे अस सिद्धि नौ निधि के दाता अस पर दीन जानकी माता राम रसायन तुमरे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा तुमरो भजन राम को पावे जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे अंत काल रघुबर पुर जाए जहाँ जम हरि भक्त कहाई और देवता चित न धरे हनुमत से ही सब सुख करे संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा जो सुमरे हनुमत बलबीरा जय 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 हनुमान गुसाई कृपा करो गुरुदेव की नाई जो सतपार पाठ कर कोई छूटे बंदी महासु कोई जो ये पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा होए सिद्धि साकी गौरी सा तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा कीजे नाथ हृदय में डेरा पवन तने संकट हरण मंगल मूरत रूप राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसव सुरभू जय श्री राम, जय श्री राम, जय श्री राम। रिकॉर्ड हुआ कि नहीं हुआ? हैंग किया हुआ है क्या? हैंग किया हुआ।
Hello, friends. In the high stake world of corporate leadership, volatility is the only constant. But what separates a good leader from an unshakable one? In this video, we explore the profound wisdom of Bhagavad Gita and its direct application to the modern CEOs and different, high leadership executives. We dive deep into the concept of samadhi, not as a mystical retreat, but as the ultimate state of the mental clarity and decision making. Let us proceed further on this thought.
Every CEO knows the feeling. It is 2 p.m. and the market is dipping. A key executive just resigned and your board is asking for a pivot. In this moment, your heart rates climb and your mind starts to race. You feel the waver. Most leadership training tells you to look outward for a solution, analyzing the data, check the competition, pivot the strategy. But ancient wisdom suggests that the most effective leader don't look out, they look inwards. Today we are exploring a profound lesson from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse 21. It's a verse that defines the state of perfection for a yogi. But as we all see that the actual blueprint for the ultimate high pressure performance executive is very well defined in this particular verse. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed further. Let's look at the verse itself. It says, on attaining perfection, the yogi sees the soul through the purified mind and experience inner joy. In this joyous state of pure bliss or samadhi, which is beyond comprehension of the senses, he never wavers from the path. And the quote close. There are three key pillars here that applies directly to you as a leader. Number one is the purified mind. So in business, we call this clarity. Number two is beyond the senses. In business, we call this vision. And number three is the unwavering path. And in business, we call this execution. The word suggests that never wavering isn't a result of willpower or being tough. It's a result of a specific internal state called samadhi. The word state, with seeing through purified mind, what does a dirty or a cluttered mind look like for a CEO? It's a mind filled with noise, fear of failure, the egos, and need for validation. Also, distraction of the short-term gains. All the distraction that you may get because of the short-term gains. When your mind is cluttered, you aren't seeing reality. You are seeing a projection of the reality. You react to the news rather than responding to the truth. Learning in the context of this verse isn't about reading more spreadsheets. It's about purifying the lens. When a leader purifies their mind through meditation, reflection, or radical honesty, they see the soul of the business. They see the core purpose, and when you see the core clearly, the external chaos loses its power, which would eventually distracted you, but then you are saving yourself from that distraction. Next, the Gita mentions a joy that is beyond comprehension of the senses. This is the part which most business schools miss. We are taught to rely entirely on our senses. What we can see in a report, hear in a meeting, or touch in a product. But the most iconic leaders think like Steve Jobs, Indra Nooyi, or Howard Schultz often made their biggest move based on something beyond the senses. They had an inner conviction that defied the current data. Bhagavad Gita calls this samadhi. For a CEO, this is the flow state. It is that moment where you are so aligned with your purpose that you experience a quiet inner joy even in the middle of a crisis. Why is this joy important? Because if your happiness depends on your stock price, which is a sensory input, you will waver every time the market fluctuates. But if your joy comes from an internal alignment with your mission, you become a bulletproof CEO. The final promise of the verse is the most important, and that is, he never wavers from the path. In the corporate world, wavering is expensive. It leads to confused teams, wasted resources, and lost market share. Leaders waver because they are searching for external certainty. But as verse 21 teaches us, certainty is an inside job. When you have experienced that inner joy and pure bliss of clarity, you no longer need the world to tell you that you are right? You stay the course because you know the course. This isn't stubbornness. Stubbornness is an ego-driven refusal to change. Unwavering leadership is a soul-driven commitment to a truth that you have perceived through clear mind. So how do you apply this today? You don't need to move to Himalayas to find that state. You find it in the micro moments of your day. Before your next meeting, take 2 minutes to purify the lens. Strip away the ego and the fear. Ask, what is the core truth here? When things go wrong, check your joy. If your peace is gone, you have slipped back into the world of senses. Reconnect with your why. Commit to the path. Once you see the truth through a clear mind, trust it. The best leaders never waver because they aren't following the world. They are leading from a place where the world cannot touch them. So, friends, go forth and lead with that unshakable clarity. We have come to the end of our lesson today. Before I close this session, a word about our affiliate partner. Stop settling for a good enough video. If your built-in laptop camera looks like a grainy mess, it is time for an upgrade. Want to instantly level up your video presence? I like to present the Lenovo Performance FHD webcam. This is a game changer for your desktop setup. Technically, this is packed. It has a very sensitive RGB sensor, very crisp photographs it takes. Also comes with 2 microphones on board, which helps you to record very clear voice in stereophonic format. And these microphones are very sensitive. You can actually move away from the camera up to 2 meters and these microphones will pick up your voice without any problem. This is a very strong piece. This is very sturdy. Comes with tripod ready. Comes with a very long leash, so it gives you a lot of flexibility to place the webcam wherever you want to keep in your studio. And also it has a swivel base, which is also very handy. So if you want to basically level up your game and you want to pick up this camera at a discount, please click on the link here or scan the QR code. Now let's get back to our video.
Hello friends, you might have heard about the latest acquisition by SpaceX, which is Elon Musk. Is SpaceX latest $60 billion move the secret to colonize the Mars? In a massive industry shifting announcement, Elon Musk SpaceX has secured an option to acquire Cursor, the world leader AI coding startup, for a staggering $60 billion. This deal isn't just about software, it's a strategic play to integrate Cursor's vibe coding AI with SpaceX colossal supercomputer, the world's most powerful AI training cluster. In this video, we break down why Musk is betting $60 billion on AI and how this technology could be the missing link for Starship's autonomous system, deep space navigation, and the massive software infrastructure needed to build a city on Mars. Let's go.
Well, $60 billion, that's more than the entire valuation of many Fortune 500 companies, right? It's twice what NASA gets in a year, and it is the price tag of a single option. Elon Musk just secured, for SpaceX. Yesterday, the world of aerospace and AI collided. SpaceX officially announced a strategic partnership with Cursor, the AI coding startup that has taken the developer world by storm. But this isn't just a partnership. SpaceX now holds the exclusive right to buy Cursor for $60 billion by the end of 2026. Why would a rocket company, one that just merged with XAI and is targeting a 1.75 trillion IPO, drop that kind of cash on a code editor? Is it just about helping engineers write faster apps, or is this the missing link that finally makes a city on Mars a reality? Today we are deconstructing the SpaceX Cursor deal, the colossal supercomputer, and why the road to the red planet is now paved with billions of lines of AI generated code. So friends, if you have reached this far, please inform us from which city you have tuned in and in which language you are watching this video. This will help us determine the reach of our channel. Alright, let's proceed with our analysis. If you aren't a developer, you might not realize how big Cursor has become. It's a fork of the VS Code, but it has been rebuilt from the ground up with AI at its core. It pioneered what enthusiasts call the vibe coding, the ability to describe a complex feature in plain English and watch the AI architect the entire file structure, logic, and test in seconds. And therefore, we need to consider this statistics. ARR, over 2 billion today, projected to hit 6 billion by year end. And what is the reach? Used by over 50% of the Fortune 500 company. And what is the most important thing? It is not just a chatbot. It is a tool that understands your entire code base. SpaceX isn't just buying a tool. They are buying the distribution channel to the world's best engineers. But there is a catch. SpaceX has two choices: pay 10 billion for a joint development partnership, or pay $60 billion for the whole thing. It's a try before you buy deal at a galactical scale. To understand why this matters, we have to look at the hardware. Back in the February 2026, SpaceX merged with XAI. In that merger, SpaceX inherited Colossus, the world's most powerful AI training cluster running on roughly 1 million NVIDIA H100 equivalents. Before this deal, Cursor was a bottleneck by the computing power. They were using model from OpenAI and Anthropic. But now Cursor is moving into the SpaceX family. They get direct access to Colossus. Imagine taking the world's most intuitive coding interface and plug in it to the world's largest supercomputer. We are talking about training a personal super intelligent specifically for engineering. This isn't about building another Grok for Twitter. It's about building an AI that can design a Raptor engine, simulate orbital mechanics, and debug the flight software of a starship in real time. Elon Musk has often said that the hardest part of Starship isn't that rocket, it is the machine that built the machine. To put a million people on Mars by 2050, you need thousands of starships. You need autonomous propellant plants on Martian surface. You need life support system that never fails. The software complexity required to manage a multi-planetary logistics chain is mind-boggling. Currently, writing that software takes thousands of human engineers and millions of man-hours. But with Cursor integrated into SpaceX stacks, accelerated prototyping will be a reality. AI can generate ground control software for the 2028 lunar mission in a fraction of time. It can also achieve autonomous debugging. On a 6-month journey to Mars, you can't wait for a patch from Earth. The ship's AI need to find a fix on its own and also debug the whole software. Next, it is going to create a stairway to Mars. This acquisition suggests that SpaceX is pivoting from being a launch provider to vertical tech stack. Their own internet, which is Starlink, their own AI, which is XAI. Now it could be Cursor also, and the transport, which is the Starship. Let's talk about money. This deal comes just as SpaceX prepare for its rumored 2026 IPO. Analysts are targeting a listing valuation of 1.75 trillion. By securing Cursor, SpaceX is signaling to Wall Street that they aren't just a transportation company, they are deep tech, combination of various companies. If they can prove that their AI integrated engineering can cut the cost of reaching Mars by 90%, a 60 billion acquisition start to look like a bargain. However, not everyone is convinced. Critics point to the anthropic shock earlier this year that wiped billions of IT giants. They ask if this a visionary move or is it another overvaluation in a red hot AI market. Whether SpaceX Cursor buys the Cursor for $60 billion or stay in a $10 billion partnership, one thing is clear. The future of space exploration is no longer just about fuel and physics. It's about intelligence. If Starship is the body that takes us to stars, the AI acquisition is the brain. We are watching the birth of the company that controls the physical and the digital infrastructure of the next century. So friends, what do you think? Is $60 billion fair price for the key to the red planet, or is the AI bubble reaching escape velocity? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into technology shaping our future. I'm CK and I will see you again in the next one. Before I go, I like to say a few words about our affiliate partners.